It's election night in South Jersey. Quinn Broadcasting, in association with our partners and sponsors, bring you reports from around the cities, county, and state. We'll have the election results with the projected and declared winners and losers. It all happens here on Quinn Broadcasting's Election Central. And now, let's join our hosts for tonight's election results.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Election 2022. Wow, time does fly by. I'm Jim Quinn. At least I can be here tonight because I'm not running for anything. And with me, also not running for anything, is Tony Surace, and except he was running away from his wife when he told her he had to come sit in with Jim tonight. I tell you, folks, I went down a list of people that would have been as good as Tony. And
careful now, you make me feel bad.
I know,
here.
That's true.
I'm the last of 100 people.
You and I talk every evening, so we're best buddies. But trying to find a legitimate Republican was what I was looking for. That's the problem. I was trying to get, for my buddy Nick Aselda, and I knew he wanted to be at headquarters. And I'm sorry that Bob Campbell's under the weather a little bit. I even called my cousin Harry Curley, who used to do it years ago, but he had some what do you call it, dermatology work done on his face, and he couldn't make it. So anyway, Tony and I are here. We're going to be non-biased. We're going to give you the results as they come through, but it's going to be a while, I can tell you that. And also, I want to let you know, and George as well, tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, Nick Aselta will come in like we did last year and do a wrap-up, because honestly, if you want to follow me on my Facebook page, my own personal Facebook page, after the election, I'll be staying up all night. And around 3 o'clock in the morning last year, the final results for the mail-ins came in. And Tony, one of the things, and the early voters, I was an early voter. Did you mail yours in, or did you vote?
I mailed.
You mailed. Yeah. I voted at the Women's Club Sunday afternoon. Everyone was very nice to me, and I'm glad that I got to do it then and didn't have to be committed necessarily till today, because you never know the day of the election. I suppose I'm in 3-2 in Millville, and I'm supposed to vote at the American Legion. So just this way on Sunday, there was nobody in there when I went in, and another woman I knew was coming in when I was leaving, so everybody got their chance to vote. The only municipal election this year, and I wish I were Al Kelly, I'm telling you, the mayor of the great city of Bridgeton has a competitor. And this was funny, Tony. I asked Priscilla Ocasio-Jimenez, I asked Priscilla, I said, do you know who's running against Mayor Kelly? She said, or somebody told me, they said that you could see the guy's face, but there was no letters. You couldn't see the name. Well, let me tell you who it is, because we're going to start with the city of Bridgeton. And the man that is running against Mayor Kelly is Teodoro Martinez, Teodora, Teodoro Martinez. He's the only person there. So, geez, George is so good. There you see it right there. Handsome guy. He's running against Mayor Kelly. Mayor Kelly is a legend in Bridgeton, has done a great job with the great city of Bridgeton. In fact, Mayor, I want to tell you, Sunday I was over there with my 2 grandchildren. We were at the Bridgeton Zoo. They had a ball, and thank you for what a great job the city of Bridgeton does. And ballpark, my God, Alden Field is fabulous. The lake, they have a lot of wonderful things. Now, in the city of Bridgeton, obviously the same candidates for the state or for the United States House of Representatives will be the same as they will every municipality we talk about tonight. It's Congressman Jeff Van Drew on the Republican slate. They're on column A. And then you see on the Democratic side, Tim Alexander. Now, independent is Mike Gallo. He's a libertarian. And then it's Anthony Parisi Sanchez, and his slogan is not for sale. Okay, I thought he was some organization, not for sale. So you see the House of Representatives basically boils down to the incumbent Congressman Jeff Van Drew and Tim Alexander. Tim was a prosecutor and is still an attorney, and is a very nice gentleman, but he's got a long haul to go up against the incumbent Congressman Jeff Van Drew. Jeff Van Drew, Tony, is amazing when you think about it. When he was a Democrat, he was able to win Cape May County. Nobody else but him. Nobody else but him. And what was really interesting was he could take with him, like Bruce Land and Andrew Zach, whoever was running with him as Democrats, they would win too. And then you saw when Jeff flipped over and became a Republican, or no, even before he did, actually, he was still, because I was trying to compete for an assembly seat, and he said no, he was the titular head of the party, and I couldn't have the assembly seat. It was going to go to the trucking guy.
Matt Milam.
Thank you. See, I knew you.
Between the two of us,
younger,
we'll come up with a
name. It was Matt Milam, Bruce Land, and then Andrew Zach was going to be the Senate candidate. So it was the Van Drew team, and yet without Jeff being on the team, because he at that time was the Democratic congressperson for the 1st District. And as it turned out, none of those three won without him being on the ticket. He is one of the most powerful people in Cape May County and is an amazing person to be able to do that. And I remember I had him on a couple of years ago, maybe before COVID, like 4 years ago, right after he got elected congressman. And he was on the Hopewell Township Day with me. We were talking. And he had been about 7 months into his term. He had already been to over 500 events. I saw him at Don Fauerbach's mother's 100th birthday party. And, he really gets out and goes. And Bill Rafferty, former county engineer, always tells this story.
Good man.
He said, I'll always vote for Jeff Van Drew. I said, why is that? He said, he was the only person who came to my door and knocked on my door. And I said, that's surprising. He said, no, Jim, I live on a cul-de-sac, a dead-end street. So, nobody ever bothers coming down my street. But he said, Jeff Van Drew did, and I voted for him and always will. And so anyway, I would say that Jeff has a very good chance of retaining his seat this evening. I liked Tim Alexander a lot, but you figure last year or 2 years ago when he ran against Amy Kennedy, who had name recognition, her husband had been a congressman, the Kennedy name was big, and she couldn't knock off Jeff Van Drew. I think it's going to be very difficult for Tim Alexander to do that. He's a great guy, but I wonder, and again, Tony, we have to be honest, it looks like it could be another red wave.
Well, we'll certainly see. Jeff will, head the ticket.
Yeah,
and
right.
As you said, a lot of support. I would also second, when I was on the board at the time, with Senator Van Drew, and
right.
He was extremely helpful getting a number of projects done in Cumberland County. Very, very aggressive. Very, as you said, out there trying to do the best job for the constituents that he could, and I had a great working relationship with him, and really appreciated all the time and effort that he put in. That was right when I took office, was right after Superstorm Sandy, and that was a real hectic time, especially in the shore communities, and Jeff was down there trying to fight all he could to get what we could for those homeowners down there. So, yeah, Jeff's a very hard-working guy. I will say that I had an opportunity to meet Tim Alexander on occasion, and again, very, very impressive. It's just, it's a tough battle, as you said, to unseat any incumbent, but to unseat someone as well-known and popular as Jeff Van Drew is, makes it equally as difficult. And then the Republican stronghold of Cape May County, as you said, as a Democrat, he ran very strong all the time because he was a conservative. And Jim, and I know we'll talk about a number of these things.
Well, so are you and I too.
Well, absolutely, and I think people want good politics. They want good government. They want good people to be in their district to represent them. However challenging, it's interesting as we talk further on. Local elections county election, the economy is important.
Yeah.
Well, do you really think our county commissioners are going to change the economy?
No.
You know, they're not going to change the economy. No. What you want is good local government at that level to change the things they can, the infrastructure, the roads, and have good, you know, police protection, et cetera, in the local area that we live in. So that's what we're hoping for. Whoever gets elected, that we have those kinds of folks in office.
Well, speaking of local people in office, as we were talking about Bridgeton's situation here, let me run down for you the fact we mentioned that the Martinez fella is running against Mayor Al Kelly. Again, I would say I don't think Mayor Kelly's got a lot to worry about. He's done a great job in Bridgeton, and you know why? He's got some great people with him. Two of my very favorite people are running with him. Some of the other people I don't know. But Ed Bethea and Curtis Edwards, super guys. Curtis does a fantastic job with Complete Care. And Ed Bethea with the community, I'm forgetting the name of the group, but it's a fantastic nonprofit organization, and it's something community. But he is a wonderful man as well. And I do know a little bit Rosemary DeQuinzio. She's a lovely lady. I don't know David Gonzalez, and I don't know Marion King, but that's the slate that's running with Mayor Kelly. So it's Mayor Kelly, obviously running again for mayor. He's been mayor for a long time. And on his slate is Ed Bethea, Rosemary DeQuinzio, Curtis Edwards, David Gonzalez, and Marion King. And I looked at this slate, and they did it alphabetically, trying to figure out how these people came out in the way they did, but it's B, D, E, G, and K. And then, of course, again, the person running for mayor against Mayor Kelly is Teodoro Martinez, and he's running as an independent, and that's the municipal election, the only municipal election going on in the three cities this year. Now, next year, I think Vineland may be up. I'm not positive. I know Milvis was last year, so it'll be a while. They could, alternate years that they have going. Tony, you want to run down the first place you have? Of course, don't forget on that ballot in Bridgeton is the people we've talked about. But what I did not mention are the four people that are running for county commissioner. Incumbent Doug Albrecht is running on the Republican ticket along with Victoria Lodes. And on the Democratic side, County Commission Director Darlene Barber, who served for 9 years, is running with a woman that I've gotten to know who is one of the brightest, hardest working women I've ever met in my life. That's Priscilla Ocasio-Jimenez. Priscilla is a doctor in education. She is a principal in Pittsgrove Township of an elementary school. Darlene, this is interesting. Of the four candidates running for county commissioner, three of the four are educators. Darlene Barber was the director or the superintendent of Cumberland County Tech School, and Victoria Lodes is now an English teacher at Millville High School, and Doug Albrecht is a businessman. So of the four, you got three educators and a business person. And now, Tony, what do you have coming up? What's your municipality?
Well, let me just make a comment about the county commissioners. Having served, thanks to you and Ed Salmon and Kim Shalik convincing me that getting involved in government would be a good thing, and it was a good thing because
but you didn't stay but 3 years.
Well, those grandkids were tugging at me from far away. I'm heading to Boston on Friday, and I got the other two that are one's in college. So it's hard because if you're going to serve, then you have to be willing to put the time in and not just be an absentee commissioner. And but the thing I was going to say was one of my very dear friends that I met was a member of the other party, a wonderful lady, the former superintendent of Vineland, Dr. Mary Gruccio.
Oh, she's a sweetheart.
And I'll never forget Dr. Gruccio making this comment at one of the meetings. And I didn't think about this. I had already been elected, but I didn't think about this until Mary said this. Please understand how difficult it is for anyone to throw their hat in the ring. and be willing to run for any political office. And boy, you talk about the climate we live in now and the social media barbs and arrows and slings that you're going to take. Mary was dead on with that comment. So any of the candidates that have thrown their hat in the ring, hats off to them for being willing to serve and to put their name out there and take all those slings and arrows. Mary was a great superintendent and a great commissioner for the time that she served.
You know, that's interesting as you talk about, and Mary was a Republican. And I served with so many wonderful people. I served county government 15 years when I was young, and then when I was older. I was in from 82 when I got elected to 91. And these are funny stories, too, because I ran in 82 with Ed Salmon, and we did really well. Bill Hughes was at the top of the ticket, which should help the Republicans with Jeff Van Drew at the top of the ticket. And what ended up happening was I got elected, and Harry Freitag, super guy, just a wonderful man, was the only Republican on. And then Claire Miller and Congressman Lobiondo came on board. And then when I went back, probably the greatest Republican elected official, I didn't serve with Mary, that I served with was Joe Surace. I mean, you talk about a gentleman, a class act. Oh, my goodness. Then I got to meet his family, and then I saw why he's so great, his brothers, his sister, his mom, his dad. Wonderful, wonderful people. Boy, did I miss him. In fact, if he had stayed, I may have stayed, but I decided to go and run for Millville last year. But he was just phenomenal, as was Carmen D'Addario, Tom Shepard, Jimmy Sorrow. I mean, just a lot of really good people. And what was Chuck Fisher always had a saying, which these guys did when they were there. And the thing is, you leave the D and the R in the car. You forget about politics. You're there to serve the people of Cumberland County. And I think we did during that period of time that we were all there. Would we have some disagreements? Absolutely. But afterwards, we'd go maybe over to the coach room, get something to eat. Just, you had a camaraderie there that you respected each other. And I think that's important. And speaking of respect, Angie Edwards will never forgive me if I don't run down the school board election in Bridgeton.
I was going to ask you to do that because I don't have the Bridgeton list. So you go ahead and do that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Angie would also be upset with all of us.
Yes, she would be, and rightfully so. And Angie's been on the school board for many, many years, does a fabulous job. She's up for re-election. Tyrone Williams is up for re-election, and Colleen Wright-Turner. Those three are the three seats that are available, and they're the incumbents, and they're going to get elected. There's no competition. There is one open seat for a one-year term, and that's being run for by Marquita Taylor, and I'm sure Marquita Taylor will win that because there's no competition there. Now it's your turn, Tony.
That's the kind of election I like to run in.
Yeah.
Or the type of teams I like to play when there's no competition. You're sure winning. But, we've done a lot of work in the Bridgeton School District, and I've done a lot of personal work there. And I know Angie has been the president for many years, and that whole board and that administration worked very, very hard in a very difficult climate of many students who aren't English speaking, and they work very hard to make sure that those students, all of them, receive a top quality education. And being over there so much, I can attest that that board works very hard. So hats off to Angie, the folks running with her, and the entire board and administration. Well, we'll talk about something a little closer to home, and we'll talk about the Millville city election, first of all, where there is just one seat available for the, the expired term?
No, it was a term that I didn't take. So
there you go. We got the guy here.
Got it pointed. Yeah, I decided I wanted to concentrate on family and business, and I resigned. I finished 4th out of the 5 last year, and again, to the credit of especially Ben Romanek and Lisa Orndorff. They finished 1 and 2. First woman mayor ever. I really think the world of her. She is very, very delightful and is doing a really good job. So, you just never know. And it was her. It was a Republican wave again, red wave that was going on, and she happened to be part of the Republican Party, worked hard with them, went and campaigned with them. Ben Romanick, whose grandpa was probably rolling over in his grave, is a diehard Democrat. Ben was a Trump supporter and a Republican and a very nice gentleman because he's a Romanick. I've never met a bad Romanick, that's for sure.
No.
All right, so go ahead.
So Bob McQuaid, who finished 6th, was then appointed.
Yeah, and I give them credit. All those commissioners, they could have gone anywhere. But out of respect that Bobby was the 6th person, he was next in line, they did appoint him, and Bob served many years on the school board and is a really nice guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And they respected the process, which generally goes to the 6th place holder. But as Jim mentioned, you could appoint anyone.
Yes,
you could go to
Absolutely.
one of your cronies or supporters, but they went with the 6th place person. And as you said, Bob McQuaid has served the school board well.
Yes.
Puts a lot of time in. I had Bob as a student years ago. He loves Millville, and he'll do anything for Millville. I called him up a couple of months ago because he had a notice on Facebook that anybody was getting rid of an old television, he'd come pick it up.
Yeah.
Had this big old TV that would cheaper to buy a new one than to try to get it repaired. And anyway, Bob came along with Mike Wilden and loaded it up and took it away. But Bob's a good man. I got to honestly say, he's running against Stephen Watson. And Jim, I don't know Steve Watson.
I don't either.
I give him credit for, again, being someone stepping out and willing to run. It's one thing, Jim, to be on a commission and be of different parties and discuss the issues and then go back in the room and maybe have a little disagreement and then come back and all get along and work for the people that elected you. That's the most important thing. But the tough part is, and you don't see it much in the local elections or the school board elections, but you see it at the higher levels. You see it sometimes in county elections, and certainly at state level. That's where the arrows and the sling start. So it's just unfortunate. You especially as a hotly, and I know we're here to talk about the county and so forth in the state, but in Pennsylvania, that is a really hotly contested election that's going on. And I'm just so tired of watching those campaign ads that are just so negative toward each other.
Yeah.
It just makes you.
Thank God they're done.
Thank God they're finished. Yep, absolutely. So then, in addition to the city, we have the school board. And what did I do with that sheet? Here we go. So we have the incumbents. Mike Wilden, who served on the board a number of years, has done a fine job. Kevin Aselta, who's an incumbent, and Richard Cott, who's one of the incumbents running for one of the three places. And running against them are Charles McGuire, Stanley Baker Jr., and Thomas McFarland III. So that's your candidates for the upcoming school board election. And I know that's a critical election. You and I have both spent a lot of time with our superintendent. We can't say enough good things about our superintendent and how hard he works. And the key to moving education forward is a good superintendent and a board that is a good board that works with the superintendent and for the students and isn't contentious and always, again, some disagreements, some different directions, but are basically all working together. And in the 2 years Tony's been here, I think the board has worked very well with Tony.
He told me they have. He's been very pleased with the board, and of course they've got to be pleased with him. What a tremendous job!
Yeah, it's a good combination.
And to that board's credit, they're the board that hired him, and I give them a lot of credit. Remember Debbie Malone telling me the summer before I met Tony, she said, "Jim, you wait till you meet this guy we're hiring for superintendent." And I tell her every day, "Debbie, you are 100% right. He is amazing. He really is, folks." And I want to say hello to Jim Higby Shannon. He said, he's not speaking to me, he said, "Good evening, Robert." And that's Mr. Surace's real God-given name. I guess it's Robert.
Well,
Anthony.
good evening, Higby.
Yeah, that's right. And here's
one of the
my
famous Shannons.
Yeah, here's one of my favorite people. I was just talking about you, Bob, to somebody the other day. They were talking about what a great job the Vineland City Administrator does, and it's Bob Dickinson. And I knew Bobby from when he was a player on the Smith Block Little League team, one of the best pitchers in the league. And he said hello to you, and he said hello to the legendary Coach Surace and to me. And he said he loves listening to us guys. We should just come on. Tony and I usually have an 11 o'clock talk on the phone. We should just put it on Facebook or something. And then Greg Goodwin, one of the greatest Goodwins around, that used to coach.
Outstanding player when he played.
Yeah.
Went on to great coaching career at Absegami.
Yeah, he did.
And now he's retired and part of our breakfast club.
Oh, that's super. Greg, good to have you watching us. One of the best coaches Millville ever had, next to Tony Surace, Dennis Thomas, is voting is important, is what Dennis is saying. He's watching us. And here's a funny comment. She's right. Cindy Stanger Cook said, when I said about staying up late to give the results, she goes, "Jim, you stay up all night anyway." You're right, I do. And then she also talked about how incredible Mayor Kelly is. Jim Quinn, along with Tony Surace, election 2022 for Cumberland County Commissioners and for the congressional seat in our district. They're the main ones. We have a couple of local ones. We talked about the Bridgeton election. And when we come back, I'm going to talk about the commercial township where there is an election between Mayor Mike Vizard and Justice Strawmuller. And we'll talk about that and much more right after these messages.
Imagine living without pain. For over 35 years, Doctors Beebe and Doyle have helped thousands of people find relief from all types of pain. Millville Chiropractic Center has 4 doctors on staff specializing in hands-on or light-touch, drug-free pain relief methods. The examination, x-rays, therapies, and adjustments are all performed at one location. Schedule a consultation today. Enjoy life without pain and discomfort. Millville Chiropractic Center, the area's #1 pain relief center.
In the heart of the farmlands of Bridgeton, New Jersey, there is a company that has its roots deep in history. Spanning over 175 years, the Cumberland Insurance Group stands strong and proud, protecting the lives and properties of over 100,000 policyholders. Businesses pride themselves for hitting the 50-year mark or the 100-year mark, but the Cumberland Insurance Group shows that a strong business with the mindset of putting its people first can last generations. The groundwork has been laid for the Cumberland Insurance Group to stand tall for another 175 years. With its ever-growing expansions with state-of-the-art technology, Cumberland Insurance will be there to protect its policyholders for years to come. Surviving some of the toughest weather conditions Mother Nature can throw, they are ready to take on the challenges that lie ahead.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
It's election night in South Jersey. Quinn Broadcasting, in association with our partners and sponsors, bring you reports from around the cities, county, and state. We'll have the election results with the projected and declared winners and losers. It all happens here on Quinn Broadcasting's Election Central. And now, let's join our hosts for tonight's election results.
Welcome back to Election 2022 is what we're doing this evening here at the Quinn Broadcasting Studio on High Street in Millville. And with me is the legendary coach, Hall of Fame coach, Tony Surace. But he's here tonight not for his football. It was for those years he spent with Mary Gruccio and a lot of other wonderful people.
Well, you forget I cut my teeth with Ed Salmon way back when he started. Now, I didn't hold office.
Yeah, I know.
But I was right there.
We tried to get you. Well, you know what?
With Ed, all those election campaigns.
I got to tell you something, folks. Think about this. This is a fact. When you look at people who get elected, okay, Tony Surace, what did he do? He taught. He coached. Okay. Jeff Trout, what did he do? He taught. He coached. Joe Dorella, what did he do? He taught. He coached. And I'm sure there are many others.
Ed Salmon.
Ed Salmon, he was the mayor. He was everything. He was the mayor. He was
taught,
the
he coached.
freeholder director. He taught, he coached. I mean, you look at that. And then my other thing is, I was telling Johnny Capizzola ran for state assembly last year, in fact. Very dynamic, great guy. And I said, Johnny, you need to run, maybe for county commission or something like that, because Johnny has taught in Vineland's school system, phys ed teacher, 15,000 students.
Yeah.
And every one of them loves him because he's one of the nicest guys you'd ever meet. And that's where you look at, where does the visibility come? I taught a brief period of time, and I did speech therapy, so I had about 10 years in education, but speech therapy, I only had 101. So
You've been on TV for 50 years.
I know. That was what I was getting to. It wasn't the coaching or teaching that got me there. It was being on the radio and on the TV forever. It seems like I was born here, and, who knows what.
I have to share my great campaign story. I know I've told you this, I'm pretty sure. So I'm campaigning prior to the election, and we're walking in Bridgeton, and I'm with Amari Williams and Carol Musso, the sheriff, and I knock on the door, and this gentleman in Bridgeton opens the door, and I said, "Hi, I'm Tony Surace. I'm running for Cumberland County Freeholder." He looks at me and he said, 76-6. I said, whoa. Hey, you beat Bridgeton 76-6. I'm not voting for you. I said, whoa, back off. I was not here in 1968 when Millville beat Bridgeton. I came the following year. But I saw that film. But I said, can I count on your vote? Well, maybe.
Yeah, it's interesting, that's for sure. We talked about putting yourself out for vulnerability. And what's really tough, you hit on it earlier, Tony. I mean, Facebook, they can say anything they want. It's before you used to worry about the open letters. Remember those when there was newspaper? You'd worry about somebody writing an open letter that had something against you. Well, nowadays they just they type up on Facebook whatever they want to say, and whether it's true or not, people believe it because it's there. It has to be. It's like newspaper. It was in a newspaper, it had to be true. No, it didn't really have to be, but you thought it was. A lot of people did. Now with Facebook, I have to tell you, this is a really interesting story. And I read this on Facebook, or I read it somewhere. This comes back to our congressman, Jeff Van Drew. It talked about, and it appears on November 15th, that former President Donald Trump is going to announce that he's running in 2024 for president again. Well, one of the things was written in a story, and it was a compliment to Congressman Jeff Van Drew, that Donald Trump might consider him for the vice president, which would be a great thing for all of us that we know him, and I think he would do it. I know he'd do a great job as the vice president and all that kind of stuff, and it would make sense because Jeff has been very supportive of former President Trump. They had their get-together where Jeff came over and became a Republican, and they had that bond, I think, that went there. So I don't know if anybody else saw that or not. I did see that, and I thought, hey, that's not a bad thing, from a standpoint. It would be wonderful to have our congressman and somebody we know from our district be the vice presidential candidate. And we Tony, as Democrats, we look at the future. Unfortunately, Joe Biden, I know him. I've actually had dinner with him. Back in '85, he was the featured speaker at a fundraiser for Ed Salmon and I. And that was there was a year talk about a red wave. It was the Tom Kean year. Tom Kean, who was one of my most favorite governors, too. It was a Republican, but great, great guy. Tom Kean was so popular in '85 that I think Ed Salmon and I were two of the only Democrat freeholders in the state of New Jersey that survived that Kean landslide. And then, but you never know. It's all timing. And that's what's tough, too, for the people that ran like Joe Durrell and Priscilla last year when they were running. It was not good timing. It was Republican timing, not Democratic timing. So Jimmy Perrin in '85 said to me, boy, Jim, you could probably run forever and never have to worry about losing. Well, 6 years later, in 1991, I got the Florio backlash. And Chuck Griffith, great guy, he and I were running. We both got blown away. We were
Ed Salmon lost.
Yes, that's right. Ed did. I mean, everybody that was a Democrat that year lost. So you just don't know. Right now, Republicans have been on a roll. Last year was a phenomenal year for the Republican Party, and this year is probably going to be a good year, and you just have to see how it goes. But a lot of it is timing. You know that, Tony. Whatever it is, it's the right time, the wrong time. The first time I ran for office, I was naive. I was an independent, and I had to go register as a Democrat to run. And we had a luncheon. Ed Salmon and I were it weren't. It was Chuck. It was Gary Simmerman, John Bernard, and myself running in 1981 against 3 Republicans. Well, the 2, Bill Richardson and John Crispo, they weren't real well known, but the guy that I was really running against was Harry Freitag, who I thought the world of. He blew me away. And I was dumb. I thought I was going to win. There was no way I won. I did come back in '82 and win. But timing is important. Name recognition, notoriety. I mean, even with Doug Albrecht, Bob Albrecht Tire has been there forever. So you have that business name recognition, at least from that aspect of it. And Tori Lodes is an educator. Priscilla's an educator. Darlene was an educator. And, when you look at it, educators touch lives with kids, and usually very positive ways, and get good support back as well. Now I want to get back to Commercial Township is the next one that we're going to talk about after Bridgeton and Millville. Of course, your candidates, your congressional candidates throughout this entire forum of the cities that we're looking at, they are all obviously the same ones. So you have Jeff Andrew on column A. Column B is Tim Alexander. The county commissioners, column A is Doug Albrecht and Victoria Lodes. And in column B, it's Darlene Barber and Priscilla Ocasio-Mendez. And so far in the county of Cumberland, the only 3 Democratic communities left that are totally Democrat. Millville's basically all Republican. Just about everybody on city council is Republican or affiliated with the Republicans. And in Fairfield Township is Democrat, Bridgeton is Democrat, and currently, till now anyway, Commercial Township is Democrat. It's got Mike Vizard, who was the mayor. He's up for election tonight against Justice Strawmuller. And Justice was a Millville fella. George Strawmuller was his dad, very important person. There you see Mike and Justice. His dad was a very important vice president of Wheaton Industry. And I know who Justice is. I haven't seen him in years. I think he lives in Morristown, portion of Commercial Township. And Mike Vizard and I have become good friends. He's the mayor of Commercial Township currently. It's a town committee form of government. And so anyway, he currently is the mayor of Commercial Township. And the guy, Kenny Wilden, was smart in Barsewer Township. He used to be Democrat. So Kenny went up for re-election. He decided he saw the light. He wanted to become a Republican, and now he's still the mayor. So that was not a dumb move on his part by any means. But Commercial Township could swing from 2 Democrats on the township committee to 2 Republicans if Justice Strawmuller is able to defeat Mike Vizard. And that's another tough thing, too. When you get to be friendly with people, you really feel bad for them when they lose. But I've lost. Ones are not good years for me. I lost in '81, '91, And I might as well have lost in 2021. So any year that ended with a 1, it was like, forget it. But we've got Alexander Bland, who's a super Democrat, great person. He said hello. Don Shaw's watching. Don, I see you on Facebook a lot. And any of you, if you've heard, folks, if any of you in the townships, maybe they've counted the ballots there. We're waiting. Obviously, we're dependent on the county to get the results in. And so if you're in Commercial Township or Shiloh, anywhere, and you know the results and you want to message them to us, just do it on the Quinn Broadcasting Facebook page, and we'll pass them along to everybody else as well. Or if you have my telephone number, you can text me on the phone at 856-305-6647, and we'll pass that along. I don't know the name of the tavern that the Republicans are having their celebration tonight. It's owned by Eastland, and it's out in East Vineland. It's really neat place, Tony. I've been there. I can never remember the name of it. And then the Democrats are up at Bob Morgan's place, which is the former Neptune on Delsey Drive in Vineland. Want to say hello to all the people at the Republican and Democratic headquarters. Want to remind you, tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, Nick Aselda will be back. He'll come with me, and we'll do a total wrap-up. By then, we'll have all the results. We're hoping to have as many results as we can before 11 o'clock this evening. But again, with your help, if you're at a township or you've gotten the results, the townships are easier to get counted, where when you're talking to City of Vineland, it's lots and thousands of people. Millville too, Bridgeton also. But if you do have any of those, please let us know. But now, and let me finish Commercial Township, and then Tony will be up with his next community that we're talking about. As we mentioned in Commercial Township, the big story will be Justice Strawmiller, the Republican, running against the current incumbent Mayor Mike Vizard. And for the school board, we've got LaRae Smith, who is the Democratic chairman for Commercial Township, Sharon Porter, and there's an open seat. So if you want that seat, somebody maybe could have written your name in. And there's an unexpired term that Tracy Richardson is going to fill. So there is an open seat on the Commercial Township School Board that no one filed for. Out of the 3 seats, 2 people filed. Tony, your turn.
Well, we have the Vineland School Board, and again, the Vineland School Board has, especially when Dr. Gruccio was superintendent, did a number of projects with them and got to know some of their board members and know them through other events as well. But the school board elections in Vineland, the great John Sabrana, who I know you know very well, Jim, Kim Cottaspati, who's
Super
a
lady.
former Millville student,
Yes.
and transposed over there to Vineland. Both been on the board a number of years and serving well. The other incumbent is Nicholas Fiocchi, Sam's son.
Yeah, what a great kid.
Been
Great guy.
on the board as well. So they're the 3 incumbents, and then running against them is, help me with that first name, Jim, Makema Douglas, Makema.
Sounds good to me.
I don't know him, but
Might
he is
be.
also running for the board. So those are that's the school board election. Again, just as in Millville, school board is very, very important to the success of the school, and in working with the superintendent and working with the administration. So I know that John Sabrana, Kim Cottaspati, and Nick Fiocchi have worked very hard at their positions.
You know, Tony, one thing on Millville that we did miss is the public question.
Yes.
That's what they're asking is Millville, the commissioners want to do away with the zoning. There you sit. Thank George, you're amazing. Dissolving the Zoning Board of Adjustments and allowing the Planning Board to exercise the powers previously held by the Zoning Board of Adjustments. This has happened in many of the townships because they're smaller. They felt it was probably more efficient to do. I don't know how I feel one way or another. It doesn't really matter. Well, it does. I got to vote on it as a Millville resident. But it'll be interesting to see how this goes about, because the zoning board had a couple of very tough decisions they had to make. One was to turn our church, St. John Bosco, over to a rehab for women, and that one was, I would have liked to have seen it stay as a church, and I understand that the Episcopal Church of Cumberland County was interested in buying it. But there is a lot of need for women, as there are men, that have drug and alcohol problems. So it certainly serves a purpose, for sure, and it's a nonprofit that had it. I know I watched that whole thing. We televised it. And the zoning board members really had a tough time with that. They really did. And what ended up happening, and I know it myself when I served on the planning board in Millville as the mayor, you're part of the planning board, you've got to listen to the solicitor. You don't want to end up voting the wrong way and having it overturned by the other, they're going to sue you. So I know the solicitor made the suggestion, I'm sure he did, he said, look, we don't do it this way, we're going to get sued. So that's ended up, and I wonder, I'm not sure, but what they call the trailer park, which are the modular homes that Frank Carpino wanted to put in out near the airport on the west side of town, I don't know if that was also one where the zoning board gave the permission, but it wasn't popular with the people, especially the people living out there. If that was another reason why criticism or disdain at the zoning board came about, I don't know if that's the whole story, but there are two events that I saw that happened in the last couple of years that put the zoning board in a tough position.
I think one of the other issues, Jim, and you could speak to this much better than me, is it is so hard to get enough people to volunteer their time to serve on both boards. Do you see that as a potential issue?
Not in Millville, I didn't. I didn't. In fact, I had people that were asking to serve, but there were some there are some very good people
very
on the zoning
people,
board.
yeah.
There are people that volunteer. Sheila Roselle, who's a friend of mine and yours, and the zoning board president, I know he really, Thornton, anyway, he puts a lot of time and effort into it. A lot of those people have been on that for a long time. Now, like I say, in townships, like probably even commercial, they combine the zoning and planning board into land use board, I think is what they call it. So it's not unusual to happen, except I don't know too many cities that are 30,000, 25, 30,000 people that have done that. And Millville has a lot of land. You've got 45 square acres, 45 square miles of land. So the voters will tell and to the commissioner's credit, they put it on the ballot and they let the voters decide.
Is this something that the commission wanted? They supported this?
Yeah, the commissioner supported this. That's why I got on the ballot. Yes, correct.
I wish we would have had an opportunity to kind of hear from them. Maybe it was, and I'm just negligent in hearing about it and reading the pros and cons and not going to a city commission meeting to hear about, what would be the pros and cons. Because like you, I'm a little ambivalent about it.
Yeah.
As to which way to go.
Yeah. Yep. Well, we'll see later on tonight. Hopefully we'll know. I want to remind everybody you can watch Quinn Broadcasting not only on Facebook but also on our YouTube channel. So if, you want to switch over to YouTube, and what I do is I watch it on my iPad at home, and then I look up and watch the Phillies play a little bit before they lost the World Series. Not anymore. That was a while ago, that's for sure.
Unfortunately.
Yes, it was. But what'd you say, George? Oh, here we go. Oh, we got the results already. George is amazing. Well, you see, Jeff Van Drew with 50.8% of the vote of 20,400 or 645 votes that have been counted so far, and Tim Alexander with 48.3% of the vote with 19,610 votes for him. And so there's been about 40,000 votes that have been cast. And of course, Mike Gallo had 0.7%, and Anthony Parisi Sanchez had 0.3%. So you can see 265, 117. And really the competition is between the Democrat and the Republican. And the Republican is an incumbent, and he's already leading by a couple percentage points. And so thank you for those vote. That's Vineland? Ryan. Thank you, Ryan. Ryan is the master who does the football games that are so phenomenal.
You've got two good guys right there, man.
Yes, that's for sure.
Ryan and George.
Yep. Those two guys, they can do anything. Plus, Ryan really makes me jealous because he even plays drums. I mean, he's got all this talent, you know. It's like he just runs everything at the church. He's amazing. He can do it all. But, in fact, I even asked his grandpop if he would come and sit in. But he had, he was going to the dermatologist today, I think was what he told me, as well as my cousin Harry. So,
well, listen, you got to take that appointment because I know when I had a viewing to go to, and I went to the viewing, but I had to leave. I said, if I don't go now, it'll be next year. It'll be 2023. They're booked.
Oh, I'm lucky. I love Dr. Smith. I don't know what his new place is called, but I called and got in within less than 2 days, and I got the appointment again 2 more weeks. But I've been going to him for years, and now he's sold out to another company. So he only comes in on Thursdays. So you know what appointment I get on Thursday, the last one, 3:30. Because I'm not a morning person. One. I did, yes, and I got one 2 weeks from now as well. So what do you have next, Tony?
We have the school board election for Upper Deerfield, and I presume that is the Cumberland Regional.
Well, one goes to Cumberland, one goes to the to the regular.
So we have Joseph Lee and Anthony Buno Jr. And they're voting for 3, but I only see 2 on here.
Well, there must be one. Somebody didn't apply.
No petition filed.
Right. So that means it's an open spot.
Open spot.
Your neighbor down the street, Denise Arrigo, tells the story. She was living in Deerfield Township, and she didn't have her name on the ballot or anything. The next day she gets a call, and he said, "Hey, your name was written in for school board. You want to serve?" She said, "Okay, I'll serve." So,
she would be excellent.
Yeah.
Get her to run in Millville.
I guess there's nothing else in Upper Deerfield, right?
No.
No, the committee's not running.
Their
mayor was honored. Well, you were with me. You came, sat at my table when Mayor Crilly got honored. Jim Crilly.
Yes.
Congratulations to him. And there's a township that is 4 Republicans and my cousin Bruce. So there's 5 of them. Bruce, I think, still a Democrat. But they all work together, and they've been together for a long, long time. And boy, there's a guy, John D'Addario. Oh my God, he is bigger. He's like bigger than life. He has just got such a tremendous personality. He lights up the room. You know, I've always talked about Rob Shannon, John D'Addario, Johnny Sorrentino. I mean, these guys, you just love being around them because they just light up the room. And I love his brother Carmen too. Carmen served with
the D'Addarios is Willie. I mean, their whole family is just a very special family and very devoted to the community.
Yeah. Now, the next one we've split them up a little bit. I have Down Township, and, of course, the normal people are running for Down Township. Jeff Andrew. On the Republican side, it's Jeff Andrew, Doug Albrecht, Victoria Lodes, Michael Rothman, who is currently the mayor, and Larry Jordan, who's been on the Township Committee for years. No one running against them. There is a public question on this. Well, let me tell you who the school board people are, too. Running for Board of Education is Kyle Myers, Sean Pignatelli, and Marie Blizzard. And there is one open position, but nobody filed to run for that one seat, one year that's open. But there's a bond referendum for Down Township. They want the voters to approve a bond not to exceed $3,977,066 to improve the air conditioning, the ventilation, the heating, and upgrading of many things in the Down Township Elementary School. I have to tell you, I had the honor for a month or so of filling in as the speech therapist at Down Township Elementary School about 11 years ago. And it is a really nice school, very, very nice school. Super kids, great educators. It's the kind of school you want your kid to go to. In fact, I think it was a choice school, if I remember right. My grandchildren that lived out of Millville went there for a while. So that's the bond referendum that's up that the voters in Down Township had to vote on. I know there's also one for Lawrence Township, but we haven't gotten to that yet. So that takes care of Down Township. The 2 incumbents, Mayor Mike Rothman, great guy, is running for re-election with no competition. And Larry Jordan, the senior member, I think, along with my buddy Bob Campbell of the Township Committee. There are 5 on the Township Committee, and they're the ones that are running there as well. And so, Tony, what do you have next?
Well, we have the great township of Stowe Creek, home of Dave Hitchner.
Oh, yeah, he's great, isn't he?
For the Cumberland County Board of Education member from Stowe Creek, unopposed, we have Thomas M. Davis. And for the local Board of Education, all unopposed, Bobby DeMasi, Rochelle Husband, and Nicole Halter. And they are all unopposed. They're not eagerly awaiting the results because they know the results.
Yeah.
Assuming they voted for themselves.
No one running for Township Committee?
I don't think so.
I didn't think so either.
No. Nope.
Okay. We did have someone ask Rachel McGuire. She asked, did we say to Millville School Board yet? We did. We don't have the results on it, but we ran down the people that are running for the Millville School Board. And Tony, if you want to, I know it's
Yeah, we had three incumbents. Michael Wilden.
He's got
He's got a
no. We have a new totals here.
Oh, new total.
Well, go ahead,
Oh,
finish that up.
No, you go ahead.
All right. Well, here's hot off the press from Ryan Orowski. Jeff Van Drew pulling ahead with these totals. He's up to 57% to Tim Alexander's 42%, Mike Gallo's 0.6%, and Anthony Sanchez 0.3%. So Jeff Van Drew is at 57%, 15 points ahead. Wow.
Starting to pull away.
Yeah, he sure is. And is that Vineland, do you know? Is it what city that is, what area?
26% of all votes.
Oh, okay, it's 26% of all the votes. Okay, thank you, Ron. So there you go. Now, Tony, you can tell Rachel the people from Millville.
Well, we have 3 incumbents running for the school board from Millville. Michael Wilden, Kevin Oselta, Richard Cott, and we have 3 people running for the first time, Charles McGuire, Stanley Baker, and Thomas McFarland. You know, one of the things I miss, Jim, is our good old Vineland Times Journal that would take all the candidates locally
And do
and do a little bio, and they would ask them all the same question: what do you see as the school system's biggest need, something like that, and then you get a little sense of who they are, because I know the incumbents because they've been there and I've had an opportunity to meet them, but not knowing new folks that might be great on the board, it's hard for them to get their message out, and other than their friends and family, no one really understands what what their positions are, and that's a shame.
Well, and you know, when you, especially with school board and in almost any elected position, the incumbency, the name recognition is there, you know, because they are an incumbent. You read about them, you know, you see things about them, and that's the benefit of incumbency. And that's why when you look at, until recently, well, for instance, I'll give Mike Testa a shout out here. Mike Testa and Antoine McClellan and,
Simonson.
Thank you, yeah. Simonson are the 3, the state senator and the state assembly people. In Cape May County, all of my life, until probably Ed Salmon,
That's right.
I never, ever did we have a Democrat. When I ran in 1981, Jim Hurley, Joe Chinizzi, the guy from Cape May County, Wildwood, was on there, Guy Musiani, they were the 3. And all of the time I can always remember, because Cape May County is a very, very strong Republican county. Cumberland County used to be a very strong Democratic county, but the tide has turned, and you see more and more Republican communities that are controlled by Republicans. And I would say safely that those current office holders for the state, Senate, and Assembly are in pretty good shape. It's going to be very difficult to get like the last time, you had 3 people run for against them. No one even came close. You know, it's one of those things, and especially after Jeff Van Drew's team with Andrew Zach and Land and Milam ran and got blown away. You figure that's it. And I don't even know if there is a Democratic mayor or Democratic committee person. There's no Democratic freeholders, no Democratic judicial officers like surrogate and county sheriff and clerk. None down there. It's all Republican, based, and that's what a lot of counties are anymore, especially in the southern district. Salem County's now Republican. Years ago, that was a Democratic county. And of course, with the red wave, it really, you don't know. Cumberland County could become a Republican county tonight if the red wave continues and the incumbent Bob Albrecht, that's his dad, Doug Albrecht, and the non-incumbent Victoria Lodes are both successful. That's the way that the Republicans could take over Cumberland County. With the 2 challengers, or the 2 people, of course, Darlene Barber, the incumbent, 9-year incumbent, Cumberland County Commission director, is wonderful. My gosh, talk about somebody who worked hard. When I was there, she was like, every meeting I'd go to, she'd be there with me. She was a deputy director then. And if you know Priscilla Ocasio-Mendez, you'll love the lady. I mean, this woman is like amazing. One of the hardest working people I've ever met in my life. Very, very bright and really cares about people and does a good job. And Victoria Lodes, very, very nice, very kind and very considerate, and again, an educator. So 3 in the education background that are running. And Tony, I don't know how long it's been since, and maybe somebody could tell me, when was the last time the Republicans had control? I know Jimmy Sorrow, you would know.
2011, I can tell you.
Was it 2011? Okay. All right, thank you.
That's the year I ran. They took over in 2012.
Okay.
I forget who somebody stepped down.
Kirstein, was it Carl Kirstein?
Carl Kirsten was the director.
Yeah, that's
right. And
cool.
shout out to Carl, wonderful,
super guy.
Wonderful person, good, excellent director. But there were, I think that's when, I'm correct on this, Lou Magazoo had resigned. So in addition to the 3 candidates, we had 4.
Oh.
And then we had the sheriff. And so we were running 5 candidates.
Wow.
To win 5 of 5.
That's
we
pretty
won
tough.
4 or 5. But unfortunately for us, for the Democrats, the Republicans had taken control. But Carl became the director then, and the very next year we took the Democrats took control again. Jim, I listening to you talk about the Republican stronghold, I know you'll agree with this. One of the great people who were great public servants that we had in Congress was the late Bill Hughes.
Oh, you bet. Yes,
I mean, there's not a finer gentleman, worked both sides of the aisle, and again, because, just like Jeff Van Drew, because of his willingness to work with everyone and to really make things happen for the people in the district. Congressman Hughes served a long time, and just I don't think anybody that he worked with, anybody in the communities would ever say a bad thing about the congressman. No. He was just a very, very special person.
Well, and somebody also in that same vein, it was a very, very special person on the Republican side, was Jim Hurley.
Yes.
And there was a man, and I tell this story, and part of it is in the documentary, but they cut part of it out. What I always said was, I was in high school, and I listened to Jim Hurley do the play-by-play of Millville High School football. I wanted to do that. I wanted to follow Jim Hurley. I really did. And I'm like 15, 16 listening. I'm going, man, I want to do that. Well, there was a short period of time, somebody else did it, a guy named Vic Ziegler. Mm-hmm. But within a couple of years after I graduated college, I was doing Millville High School football. And Jim had a public relations agency called Jim Hurley Associates. I started one here, and it ended up being the cable TV called Jim Quinn Associates. That's before Quinn Broadcasting. And then Jim Hurley got elected freeholder. I got elected freeholder. And then he blew me away in the dust. He became the state assemblyman, the senator, the Casino Control Commission director, and I'm just sitting back there saying, God bless you, Jim, what a wonderful man. He is. And he taught at Millville High, or the building I taught at, the junior high, so I taught as well. So we had a lot of things in common, but he really did a wonderful job.
Yeah,
Such
I think
a great guy.
The remark you made about the comparison between both Hurley and Hughes is right on, dead on. And the documentary on Jim Hurley that was shown at the Levoy not too long ago, just a remarkable career, remarkable man, and from our hometown in Millville. So we're very proud of Jim and his wife Walda and his family.
Yeah, we had a documentary that we've been playing on Jim, and as long as Tony says it's okay, we're going to play Tony's documentary they did on him, too. Here's the nice comments from Mr. Thakur. He says, I love the way Darlene Barber takes every issue and works on it to resolve it personally for the good of our community and our county that we need. And yes, she was a very hard worker. I'll tell you what, when I was there, every meeting I went to, she was there as well, and we really, care about the county. One of the difficult things that came up during this last couple of years is the county jail and what to do. And I know George Castellini, we were on together, and he and I were very conservative as far as fiscally conservative. And boy, I tell you, what a shame it didn't happen. Gloucester County outsourced their inmates. And I talked to the director of the guy that was his liaison position was the county jail, one of the county commissioners now. He told me as of now they've saved $200 million. And when you look at the cost for Cumberland County, the estimated cost, if we were able to outsource it, was $10 to $12 million a year. But what you also save is your lawsuits come from the jail. Not necessarily just the inmates. It could be a correction officer. It could be an administrator. There are lots and lots of lawsuits that are involved with the jail that if you didn't have the jail and if another county had it, they would take that away from you. So having a jail is a tough thing. And when you think about it, it costs $32 million, I think, a year to have the jail in Cumberland County. So, I mean, it is what it is. And that was a controversial issue, and I know the correction officers, although for them, I really think the way that the state is struggling to find correction officers, I think they all probably would have been able to find a job. But I know it's easy for me to say that's their job and their livelihood, so I know that upset them a lot as well. But anyway, let's get back to what's coming up. We see, again, it's getting even more of a spread. Jeff Van Drew, 58%. Tim Alexander, 41%. Jeff's almost at 40,000. Tim's at 27,800. And the guys below, they're just still at 0.6 and 0.3, Gallo and Sanchez. So that's so far the results we have in. We don't have any Cumberland County Commission results in, I guess, huh, Ryan, at this point? No. But the other thing that I wanted to mention about the Cumberland County Commission results is when we get them, whenever it may be, before 11, we hope, that's only going to give you all of those votes that were counted today from the people that voted today. Then, like I voted Sunday, so that, along with your vote, your mail-in vote,
voted by mail.
you voted by mail, my vote and Tony's vote, you'll read about 2:30, 3 o'clock this morning. So I will put it on my Facebook page. Just go to Jim Quinn's Facebook page, and I'll type it in as soon as I see it, or you can go to the website yourself and look it up to see the final results. That's what's tough. That's when it's really difficult for the candidates. You're sitting there going, oh, my God, did I win? Did I lose?
Yeah,
You're really wondering what had
and
happened.
more and more people are either voting early or voting by mail.
Yeah. Yes, and it tended to be. Now, I don't know whether, it was last year, because last year I remember looking at where I was with the totals, and I was close to 6th, which would have pushed me out of the Millville election totally, which would have been okay. Anyway, as it turned out, when the mail-in ballots and the early ballots came in, I moved up to fourth. So that tended to be Democrats. And it's interesting thinking about this. In 2017, Mike Santiago, Jimmy Parent, Joe Pepitone, Bruce Cooper, and Ashley Adavelis ran pretty much as a Democratic ticket. That's what they ran as. And they won unanimously, 1-5. Last year, I ran with a Democratic ticket of Joe Pepitone, Bruce Cooper, Quan Bowleg, and I forget the one. Pardon? Evie. Okay, Evie was my other candidate that ran with us. Very nice people, but they finished 7, 8, 9, and 10, and I finished fourth, which isn't really good for me because I've been the mayor for 12 years. I've been elected office for 30-some years. So it was a red wave that threw them, and I mean, you know, Bruce and Joe had been in the top 5 4 years before that. So again, it's timing, and the timing wasn't good for Democrats last year. And right now you see how Jeff Van Drew is doing so very, very well. I'm sure there's a Republican red wave coming, you know, as you see it from the congressional standpoint. And for Darlene and Priscilla on the Democratic side, you have to hope that local people who know them may, you know, vote for them. And it's going to be very close, I'm sure, between Darlene Barber and Priscilla Ocasio-Jimenez and Doug Albrecht and Victoria Lodes. So there's 4. It's going to be a very, very close race, I think, between the 4 of them. And the thing that we talked about before is if either one, well, no, both have to. Doug Albrecht's already a county commissioner. So it's 4-3. You've got Darlene Barber, George Castellini, Carol Musso, and Donna Pearson as the 4 Democrats. The 3 Republicans are Doug Albrecht, Joe Saleo, and Tony Romero. So that's how it is balanced out right now. But sometime later tonight, it's either going to be the same. If Doug and Darlene get elected, it'll just stay the same. But if Victoria wins and Darlene or Priscilla do not win, then the Republicans will take over. And as Tony said the last time, the Republicans had control is 2011.
They won in 2011, yeah.
2011. So this is 11 years later. It's 2022. So we'll see what's happening. Anyway, we'll be back with more election coverage, hopefully some more updates on at least the congressional election right after these messages.
Imagine living without pain. For over 35 years, doctors Beebe and Doyle have helped thousands of people find relief from all types of pain. Millville Chiropractic Center has 4 doctors on staff specializing in hands-on or light-touch, drug-free pain relief methods. The examination, x-rays, therapies, and adjustments are all performed at one location. Schedule a consultation today. Enjoy life without pain and discomfort. Millville Chiropractic Center, the area's #1 pain relief center.
In the heart of the farmlands of Bridgeton, New Jersey, there is a company that has its roots deep in history. Spanning over 175 years, the Cumberland Insurance Group stands strong and proud, protecting the lives and properties of over 100,000 policyholders. Businesses pride themselves for hitting the 50-year mark or the 100-year mark, but the Cumberland Insurance Group shows that a strong business with the mindset of putting its people first can last generations. The groundwork has been laid for the Cumberland Insurance Group to stand tall for another 175 years. With its ever-growing expansions with state-of-the-art technology, Cumberland Insurance will be there to protect its policyholders for years to come. Surviving some of the toughest weather conditions Mother Nature can throw, they are ready to take on the challenges that lie ahead.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community. Local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
Imagine living without pain. For over 35 years, Doctors Beebe and Doyle have helped thousands of people find relief from all types of pain. Millville Chiropractic Center has 4 doctors on staff specializing in hands-on or light-touch, drug-free pain relief methods. The examination, x-rays, therapies, and adjustments are all performed at one location. Schedule a consultation today. Enjoy life without pain and discomfort. Millville Chiropractic Center, the area's #1 pain relief center.
In the heart of the farmlands of Bridgeton, New Jersey, there is a company that has its roots deep in history. Spanning over 175 years, the Cumberland Insurance Group stands strong and proud, protecting the lives and properties of over 100,000 policyholders. Businesses pride themselves for hitting the 50-year mark or the 100-year mark, but the Cumberland Insurance Group shows that a strong business with the mindset of putting its people first can last generations. The groundwork has been laid for the Cumberland Insurance Group to stand tall for another 175 years. With its ever-growing expansions with state-of-the-art technology, Cumberland Insurance will be there to protect its policyholders for years to come. Surviving some of the toughest weather conditions Mother Nature can throw, they are ready to take on the challenges that lie ahead.
It's election night in South Jersey. Quinn Broadcasting, in association with our partners and sponsors, bring you reports from around the cities, county, and state. We'll have the election results with the projected and declared winners and losers. It all happens here on Quinn Broadcasting's Election Central. And now, let's join our hosts for tonight's election results.
Shiloh.
Welcome back to I knew I was going to say that, to the election 2022 evening. Jim Quinn along with Tony Surace. I did try to call the county clerk, and she's not available right now. She's busy, and I checked with the Democratic headquarters. In fact, Nick Aselta, if you're watching, or any of my friends at the Republican headquarters, and you'd like to text me if you have some results. We do have the congressional, but we haven't gotten any on the county level at this point in time. So I do want to say hello to Mary Messick. She sent along a nice comments to me that I'm looking good since getting out of the hospital, and I'm feeling good since getting out of the hospital, and I want to thank the hospital for their great service. And here you see, once again, now we're up to approximately 100,000, 54 and 39, so 90,000 people cast their votes in the legislative district, and it's still it's 15% points separated, Tony.
Yeah, and I think, unfortunately, for the Alexander camp and the Democratic camp, and not unexpected that Jeff Andrew will pull away as the evening goes on.
Okay, well, we'll get back to our the school board ones. You've got Shiloh, then I'll have Fairfield. Yes,
I have Shiloh here, Jim. We have member to the Cumberland Regional Board of Education unopposed, Ronald Campbell, Sr., and the members of the local Board of Education, 3 of them, no petition filed for 2, but J.R. Carmen is the one person that is running. And that speaks to what I had said earlier, Jim. It is so hard to get people to want to get involved and volunteer in various boards, for a number of reasons. Certainly one of which is time, because there is a time commitment, and you think, well, the board only meets twice a month, but there's an awful lot of meetings that take place other than those 2 meetings, and people that I've talked to and encouraged to consider throwing their hat in the ring for the board, I'm very honest with them and tell them, I'm not going to kid you and tell you that it's only 2 meetings a month, because it's much more than that. They're committee meetings and so forth. Nothing that many people for many years. I just mentioned to you that I got a text from Alice Davidson, and she served on the Board of Ed for many years. George Mitchell many, many years, Joe Durella many years,
Yeah.
Jim Parent.
Right.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
you can go on and on with. I know I'm missing a whole bunch of people. Don't get mad at me, former board members, because we've been lucky in Millville because since I've been here, we only had one roundabout where we had some really
Yeah,
crazy
it
board
cost us-
members.
Cost us a pool and a school.
Yeah,
and everything
lost
else,
the
yeah.
board,
Yeah.
the bond issue.
Yeah.
But, geez, don't remind me of that. That was a bad time. But other than that period of time, Jim, we've had really good board members.
Yes, we have.
And,
Absolutely.
and I got to say this too, and I'm probably out on I don't talk to you, I don't think about this, but probably out on a ship all alone on this. But I really believe we'd be better served with appointed boards, because I think good people, have no desire to like run a campaign, put a sign up. You saw the names for the Millville board, the new people. We talked about it. Very few people know who they are. So,
Yeah.
if you have an appointed board, you have an opportunity to reach out to people in the community. And, hey, do you have some names for me of someone that might be a good board member? And I think in asking people, you might get a little bit, more response of people that would be willing to serve. My thought.
I used to have that thought, but I don't anymore.
Okay.
So, years back, I thought that was a good idea. The other thing, too, and you mentioned some of the people, and I don't know if they were elected or appointed, but like Jim Parent, Joe Durella, served there and then moved up to city government as well.
They were all elected because that was that period of time when Mr. Litwack campaigned to have an elected school board.
Right.
And that was
So,
roughly 1990.
well, and I look at, like, the Vineland School Board, Nick Fiocchi, super young guy.
Mm-hmm.
I would suspect somewhere down the road with his great parents he has and everything else that he might be interested in running for city council, as, some of them may not want to run. So it gives them a little bit of a base to get started with name recognition and things like that. So, I sort of like it the way it is. Years ago, I did like it when it was like 40 years ago or whatever they did that, but now I'm sort of, okay, go this way. My Fairfield Township, we actually have committee people running for Fairfield Township Committee. It's one of the few Democratic townships in Cumberland County. It and Commercial Township are the only two that are still controlled by Democrats. And running for mayor again, I think, is Ben Byrd Sr., and for Township Committee is Marvin Pierce Jr., and that's for Fairfield Township. For the school board in Fairfield Township, they have a lot of openings. They have two people running, Shanna Johnson and Randolph Farabee, and they have an open spot for the 3 local ones, and they also think have one for the regular Cumberland Regional School Board spots are open as well. So there you see that people, as you talked about school board, Tony, they can't even get enough people to want to run. So you end up having to draft somebody or, put them on the ballot or, write them in. And then that way they can go, and become a board member there. I've got Greenwich, one of the most beautiful townships in Cumberland County. And they actually have, I may be wrong. Greenwich still may be Democrat. They got Dan Orr, who used to be the engineer for the county of Cumberland. Mm-hmm. And he is running for Township Committee on the Democratic ticket over there. So I apologize. I may have to put Greenwich in along with Fairfield Township and Commercial Township. For school board, they've got a full slate of people running. Vote for 4, and they got 4. Kelly Seabrook, Gregory Zapnar, Megan Shepard, and Cynthia Duffield. So God bless them. Good job in Greenwich. And I know you were over there recently for a funeral.
Yes, Alice Miller.
She was a sweetheart, wonderful lady.
Yep, prayers go out to Larry. He's battling some illness, so keep former Superintendent Larry Miller in your thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, please do, folks. Nick's asking me, Jimmy, any results? So I'll have to tell him. None yet. Yep. But as we say, in fairness, what happens in the voting situation? Let's say Millville, because I'm sort of familiar with that. Jeannie Hitchner would get all of the ballots brought in from the different wards and districts in the city. They are then taken with the sheriff's department and everything else. I believe she may total them, the Millville ones, if I remember correctly, because Lou Thompson used to ship me down the Millville results when he had them, or Susan Robustello did. And then they all have to go to the county. So what's happening is you have 14 municipalities in Cumberland County who are voting, and each one of them record their votes at their township hall. Then they are transported over to the county courthouse, to the office of the county clerk, which is Celeste Riley, where they are then compiled, I guess, from that point into totals from the 14 municipalities. So I know the Democrat contingent. I talked to Darlene Barber for a few minutes on the commercial. They will let me know. Nick, I hope you will let us know if you get any of the information. We have the website on it, which I'm sure a lot of you do, but we have not gotten any totals for the county of Cumberland. And we're all interested, obviously, in the county commissioner race. That's the race that is the biggie. Could throw total control one way or another, or it could stay the same, depending upon the four people or the two people who win. And again, updating the House of Representatives totals. Again, we're over about 108,000 votes that have been cast. Jeff Van Drew with 59%.
Yeah, about
wow. Yeah,
59%
of the votes or the percent, and Tim Alexander with 20. So it's 19 percentage points difference. The guys down at the bottom, Gallo 0.7 and Sanchez 0.3.
46 reporting.
46 districts reporting?
46% reporting.
46%, thank you, Ryan. 46% of the districts are reporting, so that's almost half. And you can see that you could safely say Jeff Van Drew is going to be reelected to the congressional seat that he's been holding for the last, I guess it's 4 years now, right?
I think it is 4 years.
Yeah, I think so. And knowing Jeff, I'm sure he'll be there for quite a while. No question about that. It is
well, unless he becomes vice president.
That's right. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I saw that, which I was like, "Wow, that's fantastic."
Yeah, you had mentioned that to me.
It really is. Jerry Young told me that Morgan Shepherd is a great person. Morgan, that's nice to hear. And Don Fauerbach sending some prayers along for Dr. Miller. Thank you, Don, for that. If you'd like to send us a message on Quinn Broadcasting Facebook page, just type it in. We'll be glad to read it. As we have, let's see, Hopewell Township, they have a race going on. That's right. And in Hopewell Township, it's on the Republican side, of course, Jeff Van Drew, Doug Albrecht, and Victoria Lodes. But the committee person running for Township Committee in Hopewell Township is Claire Miller's son, David Miller. I don't know David, but I know Dad, and I like your dad. So David is running. He's the Republican, but there's actually a Democrat on the ticket. You've got Tim Alexander, you got Darlene Barber, Priscilla Ocasio-Jimenez, and Ed Kennedy. I don't know Ed Kennedy, but Priscilla told me she met Ed Kennedy, and we're going to take a break because this is Celeste. Hello, wonderful.
In the heart of the farmlands of Bridgeton, New Jersey, there is a company that has its roots deep in history. Spanning over 175 years, the Cumberland Insurance Group stands strong and proud, protecting the lives and properties of over 100,000 policyholders. Businesses pride themselves for hitting the 50-year mark or the 100-year mark, but the Cumberland Insurance Group shows that a strong business with the mindset of putting its people first can last generations. The groundwork has been laid for the Cumberland Insurance Group to stand tall for another 175 years. With its ever-growing expansions with state-of-the-art technology, Cumberland Insurance will be there to protect its policyholders for years to come. Surviving some of the toughest weather conditions Mother Nature can throw, they are ready to take on the challenges that lie ahead.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
Imagine living without pain. For over 35 years, Doctors Beebe and Doyle have helped thousands of people find relief from all types of pain. Millville Chiropractic Center has 4 doctors on staff specializing in hands-on or light-touch, drug-free pain relief methods. The examination, x-rays, therapies, and adjustments are all performed at one location. Schedule a consultation today. Enjoy life without pain and discomfort. Millville Chiropractic Center, the area's #1 pain relief center.
In the heart of the farmlands of Bridgeton, New Jersey, there is a company that has its roots deep in history. Spanning over 175 years, the Cumberland Insurance Group stands strong and proud, protecting the lives and properties of over 100,000 policyholders. Businesses pride themselves for hitting the 50-year mark or the 100-year mark, but the Cumberland Insurance Group shows that a strong business with the mindset of putting its people first can last generations. The groundwork has been laid for the Cumberland Insurance Group to stand tall for another 175 years. With its ever-growing expansions with state-of-the-art technology, Cumberland Insurance will be there to protect its policyholders for years to come. Surviving some of the toughest weather conditions Mother Nature can throw, they are ready to take on the challenges that lie ahead.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
Imagine living without pain. For over 35 years, Doctors Beebe and Doyle have helped thousands of people find relief from all types of pain. Millville Chiropractic Center has 4 doctors on staff specializing in hands-on or light-touch, drug-free pain relief methods. The examination, x-rays, therapies, and adjustments are all performed at one location. Schedule a consultation today. Enjoy life without pain and discomfort. Millville Chiropractic Center, the area's #1 pain relief center.
It's election night in South Jersey. Quinn Broadcasting, in association with our partners and sponsors, bring you reports from around the cities, county, and state. We'll have the election results with the projected and declared winners and losers. It all happens here on Quinn Broadcasting's Election Central. And now, let's join our hosts for tonight's election results.
Welcome back to Around South Jersey. Talk to
How about election night?
Election night. Yeah, thank you. That's why I get this going. Thanks.
Hey, Ron Vinnick texted me and said, political analyst, question marked about me.
Yeah.
I'm here to support Jim
Yeah,
Quinn.
that's right. He's reminding me what I'm here for. It's election 2022, the election results. We actually, one of my very favorite people in the world, and I tell you, this guy is amazing, really is. Paul Ritter, one of the nicest people you'd ever meet.
Absolutely,
And,
second that.
thank you, Paul, also for the Cumberland Insurance Group being one of our major sponsors tonight, along with Mintz Insurance. And Vance Treads and Dr. Jim Beebe. But the nicest thing about Paul Ritter is he gave me our first results, folks. Here's the first results that we've gotten from Cumberland County. I guess we're getting some more coming in. But anyway, here, Jeff Van Drew on the Republican side, 796 votes. Tim Alexander, 231. Doug Albrecht, 785. Darlene Barber, 260. Victoria Lodes, 771. Priscilla Ocasio-Jimenez, 230. In the local race, David Miller won it with 765 votes to Ed Kennedy's 266 votes. And that's the final votes for Hopewell Township. That certainly indicates there's a red wave in the western portion of Cumberland County. Of course, Hopewell Township is,
I don't think if you went
a-
back over the course of time, that's any different than
normal.
with
Yeah.
Hopewell, I
Yeah.
suspect.
Yeah, and Hopewell Township is predominantly, it's all Republican. All the township committee people are Republican, and they do a great job. It's a great township. And again, Paul Ritter's one of the best people you'd ever meet in the Ritter family. I've had the pleasure of Bill Ritter and I coached Little League together, and Ted Ritter, and it's just so many wonderful Ritter family members out there. So thank you, Mayor, for the update. Anybody else wants to update me, you can do it on my phone, 856-305-6647, if you'd like to call and just give me the totals like the Mayor just did.
Put it on YouTube too, I'm watching.
Okay. You could also put it on YouTube because my producer or co-producer tonight, Ryan Narowski, is watching YouTube. So if you want to put the totals on there as well, you can do that. And Tony, what do you have coming up? Because we
I
still
have nothing. We went
You have
through
nothing?
everything.
Okay.
Went through everything.
Went through Hopewell. Let me see what is after the Hopewell Lawrence Township. That's one of my favorite. Oh, they have the bond issue thing. I remember reading that. Skip, and I don't know if Skip and Paul Ritter are related. I think maybe they are. I think Skip's wife is Skip's daughter is Paul's wife, but I'm just thinking. Anyway, here we go in Lawrence Township. Oh, they've got a new person running for Township Committee. I know who he is, John Tisa. I think he's new to the Township Committee because he only had 3, and Skip Bowman was one of them. So anyway, in the township, there's no Democrat running for Township Committee, but John Tisa is running for Township Committee, so he's obviously going to win. He's unopposed. And Doug Albrecht and Victoria Lodes are on the Republican side with Darlene Barber and Priscilla Ocasio-Jimenez on the Democratic side. There is a bond proposal here for the school board, and the school board member is Linda Milletta. And I think there's an open position. No, it said vote for one, so Linda's the one they're going to vote for. The bond question comes down to should they spend $5,860,000 to do repairs on furniture installation, acquisition, equipment, all kinds of things for the Myron L. Powell School. I had the privilege, I don't know how many years ago, to be speech therapist one day a week in Myron L. Powell School. Great staff, great school, and they're asking for help. And they are a choice school too, by the way, so they're asking for $5+ million to do renovations on the school that needs to be done at this point in time. So that's the, let's see, do I have another? That's Lawrence Township. Oh, I have, my heavens, Morris River Township. I didn't realize I have another one. This is where my buddy Kenny Wilden, he's smart. Ken Wilden, you're no dummy, buddy. You are smart. Ken Wilden used to be a Democrat, and he says, I see the red wave, man. I'm going to get out of the way, and I'm going to come over to the Republican side, which he did. So that means he will be elected. There was nobody on the Democratic ticket running against him. He's a really good person. He was the mayor, so I think possibly he will continue to be the mayor. Ken, you got to give me a call. I know you have my number. Let me know how the county commission candidates did. And I got some news for you too, Ken, some big news, really great news for Morris River Township. Happened to be at the right place at the right time last night, so I can tell you some hot off the press news if you give me a call. Tell Kenny to call me. I'm almost positive he's in my phone, so hopefully he will call. And let me talk about the school board. It's Sherry Welsh. She is the only one running for 2 open seats, so there's one petition that's not being filled, so there would be maybe a write-in vote for that. So, Tony, we covered 14 municipalities and townships, and then hopefully we'll be getting some more votes in. We did have the, thanks to Paul Ritter. Oh, Ken Wilden. Oh, Kenny, I love you, man. I was just talking about how great you are. Boy, this is another, wow. Here's the totals from Morris River Township for the Republicans. Jeff Van Drew, 655 votes. Tim Alexander, 166 votes. Doug Albrecht, 649 votes. Victoria Lode, 640 votes. Darlene Barber, 174 votes. Priscilla Ocasio-Jimenez, 167 votes. That follows along with the Hopewell Township red wave for the Republicans. Once again, let me give you those totals. Jeff Van Drew, 655 votes. Tim Alexander, 166. Doug Albrecht, 649. Darlene Barber, 174. Victoria Lode, 640. And Priscilla Ocasio-Jimenez, 167. Ken Wilden, the mayor. Hey, Ken, I'm proud of you, man. You got the most votes, 703. So that is a great thing, and Ken does a really good job in Morris River Township, and we'll certainly have you on the show sometime. In fact, I'm going to get you on the show, Ken, at the diner, the Morris River Diner. So get a little clue there of what I'm going to talk to you about. But anyway, we'll do a Around South Jersey show, which I welcome people back to, and this is Election 2022. And here you see the House of Representatives for the districts we have reporting in. And Jeff Van Drew is only up by, 18,000 votes? Or no, what am I saying? 20-some thousand, 22,000 votes. And he has 59% of the vote, where Tim Alexander has 40% of the vote. And, folks, it looks like a red wave is sweeping over Cumberland County again this year, as it did last year. Now, remember, the Morris River Township has become a Republican township. It was Democratic when I was young, but I'm old and they're Republican. And so that is a fact. And Hopewell Township has been very strong Republican. Millville, Vineland, Bridgeton. Bridgeton should be strong Democrat. Fairfield will be strong Democrat. Millville, Vineland, and Vineland usually are somewhat split. It's not totally. Now, again, I don't know. With the red wave, I may be wrong, but there may be some hope for Darlene and Priscilla in the bigger cities where there's more voters and more voter turnouts, and the districts, that do vote Democratic. The key usually is trying to get those districts out, Tony. You know that. We have districts where, I remember like 1-1 in Millville. I won. This was a mayor's election. I won District 1, Ward 1, District 1, with 42 votes, and I was the top vote getter. And there's 7,000, no, it wasn't that many. I'll say there were maybe 1,000 voters in that district, but 42 voted, So, again, that's important that people get out and vote. But I think, Tony, as we talk about that $4 a gallon gasoline, the inflation, all the things that are going wrong in the country, the problems, and it's just on the shoulders of Joe Biden and the Democrats because they're the ones that are in power. If it were the reverse, it probably would be the other way too. But you got to face the facts when you're in power. And also, the second 2 years after any president is elected, 2 years later, Congress and Senate tend to flip. I guess they're just upset with whoever they get in as president in a 2-year period of time. I saw that last night when I was watching
And
TV.
those are the real folks, the Jeff Van Drews, and not just Jeff, but the Congress and, the Senate and the president that can control the inflation. Doug Albrecht and Darlene Barber and the commission, they're not going to control inflation, are they, Jim?
No, I mean,
now they can make good decisions within the county, and and I've been, very close to it, even though I've been out, and I think you would agree that our county is fiscally responsible. They may not make all the decisions that everyone agrees with, but they're fiscally responsible for a county that really has a lot of difficulty with ratables and
this year we actually went up.
We did go up.
800 million in
we
ratables.
we did go up in ratables.
Had a good year.
And I think Jerry Sineski, even though he left the county, a terrific treasurer, and did a great job making sure that we were, on point. And you talked about the jail. Well, when I had taken office, the big controversy, and I knew very little about it, I had to do a lot of research and reading, was the county home. And there was
oh gosh, that's funny you say that. I am very fiscally conservative. When I first got elected in 1983 was my first year serving. They put me on the county home board, there. So it was myself, Harry Freitag, and Chuck Fisher. I said, why in the world is the county in the nursing home business? This is crazy. And Chuck looked at me. And
what year was that?
83. And
there
Chuck,
you go.
Chuck
we sold it in 2011.
Well, it only many years later. And Chuck went like this and pointed to his heart. It was in his heart. He loved that place, and of course, I'm sure Harry did too.
And there were many people.
And they dealt with the heart rather than with a pocketbook. And I was just one of those.
But in selling it, Jim, and I talked to many workers who were good friends of mine who petitioned me, don't let them sell it, don't let them sell it. Once it was sold, and it's always the fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
The company came in happy as what. I mean, they're just thrilled to have the way that the home is being run, and the county is out of a business. They had no business being it.
Yeah. Well, and let me tell you, I think I can explain this. If you've seen on Facebook the $30 million being wasted, and that is it's called a medium line or something. What that is, that's to try to get every resident, and Ken Wilden can tell you because in Morris River Township, they have lots of residents who do not have cable or internet. So the $30 million is grant money from the federal government. It's not local taxpayer money, to the best of my knowledge, from what I know about that. So that was a program that's going through the Improvement Authority. All that money, I'm almost positive, is grant money, so that rural communities like Cumberland County, and if I remember correctly, Cumberland County and Salem County are going to do a shared service agreement together as well, and that would help Salem County because they have many areas where there is no cable and there is no internet. And I actually had the company that built the cable system in Morris River, Commercial, Down, Lawrence, Fairfield, and Deerfield Townships back in the early 1980s. And we couldn't go down every road. It was just the homes were so far apart, it was costing you $10,000 a mile, or whatever it was at that time, to connect the homes. So we could do the homes, and I'll tell you what saved getting cable in those areas was Laurel Lake Commercial Township side, because you had some density, and Fortescue and Gandy's Beach, because you had some density. But other times you could run a mile and only have one home. Yeah. So that's why those townships still do not have cable and internet, because Comcast ended up buying us out, and they don't have to do it unless there's so many homes per mile, right, or the people want to pay the difference to do that. So there's something, I think it's called a medium wire or something like that, I'd never heard of before, that they are going to run so that every home and every business, school, etc. in Cumberland County, and I know they're doing a shared service in Salem County, will be connected within the next couple of years. But again, I'm almost positive that amount of money is grant money, and as I said, it's also going to be a shared service with that. Okay, Skip, thank you. Skip Bowman, one of the nicest gentlemen you'll ever meet. He said to me, Lawrence Township went red for the county Republican candidates. So I appreciate that. So far you got Hopewell, Morris River, and Lawrence Township going for Albrecht and Victoria Loads as they are Republican townships. So thank you to all of you, Kenny, to Skip, and to Paul for forwarding that to me. Oh, this, you know what, I missed somewhere. I got to get back because this is an interesting story. Is Deerfield Township, they've actually got a husband and wife running, one on the Democratic side and one on the Republican side. Husband and wife team. Here it is. I'm sorry I missed this. Thank you. Here, this is interesting. The incumbent is Anthony Lamentier. He's a Republican, and Deerfield Township's pretty much Republican also. Now, on the Democratic ticket, you've got Tim Alexander and Darlene Barber and Priscilla Ocasio-Mendez, but you've got Carol Casper on the Democratic side, and on the Republican side, directly across from her, is Brian Casper. I don't know anything about that, but somebody told me they were husband and wife, and so I guess
Interesting
situation.
Situation.
It is,
in
and a friend of mine, John Stanzione, who was a Democratic committeeman in Deerfield Township, is running on the Democratic side, and the incumbent, Anthony Lamentier Sr., is running on the Republican side. So you got Brian Casper and Lamentier, Anthony Lamentier Sr., on the Republican committee side. And on the Democratic side, you have Carol Casper and John Stanzione. So, and on the school board, it's Adam Vera, Cindy Streeter. There's the two. There's one open position, and there's also, there's another position open as well. So anyway, that's the things are. Sorry I missed Deerfield Township, but that's what, which was an interesting situation. Somebody told me about that the other day when I was at the Greater Bridgeton Chamber of Commerce event. I want to thank them for their honor for Quinn Broadcasting and all the other people that were honored. Mayor Jim Crow.
That was a great event.
Yeah, that's right.
Really
Thanks,
well
Tony,
run.
for coming over.
And congratulations to QBC, and as you said, all the other honorees, just some terrific people. And our good friend Amari Williams was
he
one of
does a
the
good job, doesn't he?
directors of that. Amari did a great job.
Yes, he does.
Fine young man.
Yes, he is. He's got. He could do a show. He used to do a radio show at WGLS when he was in college.
He's excellent at that. I'm trying to get him to run for the school board, because he has a lot to offer.
He's in Upper Deerfield.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Run up there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd have him run here, but he got to move here.
Yeah, no, I thought you meant, no, he's a great guy. He really is. We'll be back with more Election 2022, not the Round South Jersey. Election 2022 here on Comcast Cable Channel 22, the Quinn Broadcasting YouTube channel, and the Quinn Broadcasting Facebook channel. So we'll be back right after these messages.
In the heart of the farmlands of Bridgeton, New Jersey, there is a company that has its roots deep in history. Spanning over 175 years, the Cumberland Insurance Group stands strong and proud, protecting the lives and properties of over 100,000 policyholders. Businesses pride themselves for hitting the 50-year mark or the 100-year mark, but the Cumberland Insurance Group shows that a strong business with the mindset of putting its people first can last generations. The groundwork has been laid for the Cumberland Insurance Group to stand tall for another 175 years. With its ever-growing expansions with state-of-the-art technology, Cumberland Insurance will be there to protect its policyholders for years to come. Surviving some of the toughest weather conditions Mother Nature can throw, they are ready to take on the challenges that lie ahead.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
Imagine living without pain. For over 35 years, Doctors Beebe and Doyle have helped thousands of people find relief from all types of pain. Millville Chiropractic Center has 4 doctors on staff specializing in hands-on or light-touch, drug-free pain relief methods. The examination, x-rays, therapies, and adjustments are all performed at one location. Schedule a consultation today. Enjoy life without pain and discomfort. Millville Chiropractic Center, the area's #1 pain relief center.
In the heart of the farmlands of Bridgeton, New Jersey, there is a company that has its roots deep in history. Spanning over 175 years, the Cumberland Insurance Group stands strong and proud, protecting the lives and properties of over 100,000 policyholders. Businesses pride themselves for hitting the 50-year mark or the 100-year mark, but the Cumberland Insurance Group shows that a strong business with the mindset of putting its people first can last generations. The groundwork has been laid for the Cumberland Insurance Group to stand tall for another 175 years. With its ever-growing expansions with state-of-the-art technology, Cumberland Insurance will be there to protect its policyholders for years to come. Surviving some of the toughest weather conditions Mother Nature can throw, they are ready to take on the challenges that lie ahead.
It's election night in South Jersey. Quinn Broadcasting, in association with our partners and sponsors, bring you reports from around the cities, county, and state. We'll have the election results with the projected and declared winners and losers. It all happens here on Quinn Broadcasting's Election Central. And now, let's join our hosts for tonight's election results.
Welcome back to Election 2022. Jim Quinn along with Tony Surace. And Tony, it looks like the red wave is still waving from last year.
Well, it certainly looks that way at this point. I think the county commissioners have to hope for, if not a victory in the big cities, certainly keep at least Millville and Vineland close. And then maybe they can get the walk-in, or not the walk-in, but the mail-in and the early voting. Yeah, people were upset, and I get it. A discussion with my son up in Boston tonight about the cost of everything, but again, I go back to what we were talking about. I think locally we have to be reflective of how are the people you're voting for affecting that portion of your concern, and I don't think that changing gas prices and food prices are going to happen at the at the local level, be it mayor or commission or a county commissioner. But listen, it is what it is, and I just hope whoever gets elected in any position puts the people first and works very, very hard to make good decisions on the behalf of the people. And all those names that we mentioned from earlier, the Bill Hugheses, the Jim Hurleys, Ed Salmons, Jim Quinns, Joe Dorellas, those are people that really have got into serving the people. I remember Bill Whalen said to me one time when we were campaigning, and this is an old slogan that many of you have used, he said, "Now I'm a public servant. I'm running to be a public servant." And all those people we mentioned and many more, Nick Aselda certainly comes to mind. I mean, Nick has been a tremendous support system for all of this portion of South Jersey, his district, forever. And can't say enough good things about Nick. And doesn't matter if there's an R or a D behind his name. I just know that our basketball team beat Vineland when he played, but other than that, Nick was a great athlete, and I know Tony Trangone enjoys doing the games with him. The Millville Vineland basketball games. But Nick was a terrific public servant.
Yeah, he really was, and I'll tell you, talk about somebody. When I was the mayor of Millville, Nick was the state senator, and he would take me to Trenton, introduce me to people on the other side of the aisle. I got to meet Tom Kane's son, Tom Kane Jr., great guy, a lot of really nice people, and we weren't as divided then as we are today. Unfortunately, the division in this country is really something I wish wasn't quite as strong as it is, but it is what it is, unfortunately. And, but just Nick did so much to help Cumberland County and of course Cape May County as well. But he is the one who helped save the UEZ when it was going to sunset.
Yeah.
He got guys on the Republican side as well to support keeping it and extending it. And believe me, Kim Ayers could tell you where this county would be without the UEZ.
Oh, my
Oh, my
goodness.
God,
You're
I don't
right.
know. It really would be. And to Vineland's credit, of course, they got most of the UEZ money because, let's face it, when the UEZ was in operation, not a lot of people were shopping downtown Millville. They were going to the mall, and they were going to Vineland, Sears, and things like that. And that meant a lot. You talk, Tony. I got to take a drink of that.
Well, I know that again, I just have such great respect for Nick and what he's meant to this region, and I personally was disappointed. I always felt I'm a Democrat. I'm a registered Democrat. I've worked with my dear friend Ed Salmon on all of his campaigns, and most of which he won. But I was with him with a couple of difficult stretches that he had. But that's why I got out early, Jim, because I didn't want to lose. I was afraid I might lose an election. But at any rate, I especially believe that if you know the person, I don't know Joe Biden, I don't know Donald Trump, but I do know Nick Iselda, and I did know Joe Durella when they ran, and people that you understand their background, what they stand for, and I think locally especially, you'd be wise to consider some of those things. Now, maybe you know them and you don't think so highly of them, but all those people I mentioned, didn't matter if they were an R or D. They were good people to represent to represent either our city, our county, or our state, and so that's kind of like where I was philosophically. Now, I can tell you that I grew up. Many of my friends that know me, my parents were legends here in Millville, even though they lived in a little town in Pennsylvania, but they came to every football game, as you know, Jim. Absolutely. And my dad, in this little town called Paxtang, of about 1,000 people, of which my dad registered 998 of them to be Republicans. So he was part of a strong red wave back in the day.
It's funny. Here we go. The public question for the zoning board went down to defeat. 721 no, 694 yes.
Is that final?
It's not final? Nope. Oh, okay. So I take that back. That's
well,
partial.
It's kind of like you and I said. We're a little ambivalent about it, whether it's the best thing or not the best thing.
Well, we'll be back with more right after these messages.
In the heart of the farmlands of Bridgeton, New Jersey, there is a company that has its roots deep in history. Spanning over 175 years, the Cumberland Insurance Group stands strong and proud, protecting the lives and properties of over 100,000 policyholders. Businesses pride themselves for hitting the 50-year mark or the 100-year mark, but the Cumberland Insurance Group shows that a strong business with the mindset of putting its people first can last generations. The groundwork has been laid for the Cumberland Insurance Group to stand tall for another 175 years. With its ever-growing expansions with state-of-the-art technology, Cumberland Insurance will be there to protect its policyholders for years to come. Surviving some of the toughest weather conditions Mother Nature can throw, they are ready to take on the challenges that lie ahead.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
Imagine living without pain. For over 35 years, Doctors Beebe and Doyle have helped thousands of people find relief from all types of pain. Millville Chiropractic Center has 4 doctors on staff specializing in hands-on or light-touch, drug-free pain relief methods. The examination, x-rays, therapies, and adjustments are all performed at one location. Schedule a consultation today. Enjoy life without pain and discomfort. Millville Chiropractic Center, the area's #1 pain relief center.
In the heart of the farmlands of Bridgeton, New Jersey, there is a company that has its roots deep in history. Spanning over 175 years, the Cumberland Insurance Group stands strong and proud, protecting the lives and properties of over 100,000 policyholders. Businesses pride themselves for hitting the 50-year mark or the 100-year mark, but the Cumberland Insurance Group shows that a strong business with the mindset of putting its people first can last generations. The groundwork has been laid for the Cumberland Insurance Group to stand tall for another 175 years. With its ever-growing expansions with state-of-the-art technology, Cumberland Insurance will be there to protect its policyholders for years to come. Surviving some of the toughest weather conditions Mother Nature can throw, they are ready to take on the challenges that lie ahead.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
Imagine living without pain. For over 35 years, Doctors Beebe and Doyle have helped thousands of people find relief from all types of pain. Millville Chiropractic Center has 4 doctors on staff specializing in hands-on or light-touch, drug-free pain relief methods. The examination, x-rays, therapies, and adjustments are all performed at one location. Schedule a consultation today. Enjoy life without pain and discomfort. Millville Chiropractic Center, the area's #1 pain relief center.
It's election night in South Jersey. Quinn Broadcasting, in association with our partners and sponsors, bring you reports from around the cities, county, and state. We'll have the election results with the projected and declared winners and losers. It all happens here on Quinn Broadcasting's Election Central. And now, let's join our hosts for tonight's election results.
Welcome back to Election 2022. Jim Quinn along with Tony Surace. It looks like right now a red wave is continuing as it did last year. We don't have the results from the bigger cities yet, which makes a difference, but from the townships, all the townships that we've received election results from have been red. Here's the House of Representatives, and as you can see, Jeff Van Drew with 86,354 votes, the Tim Alexander's 57,416 votes, Gallo with 0.8% and Sanchez with 0.3%. But as you can see, Jeff Van Drew continues, or has pretty much been about 19 to 20% ahead of Tim Alexander during this period of time. And again, the advantage of that, and the fact the most votes I ever got as a county freeholder was the first year I ran with Ed Salmon, and Bill Hughes was at the top of the ticket. So Jeff Van Drew has been a tremendous help, is always tremendous help to whoever's on the ticket with him. And for those in Cumberland County, especially with the county commissioners, for Albrecht and for Loads, they are part of that team. Now, we don't know the percentages, but here's some good numbers that have come in for the Democrats. Do you know where they come from? Okay. Anyway, we're getting them from another source.
Obviously, very
New
early.
updates, yeah. But as you can see, it's Darlene Barber, 5,792 votes, and Priscilla Ocasio-Jimenez, 5,495 votes. Doug Albrecht, the incumbent Republican, 4,134, and Victoria Loads, the challenger coming in, the new person running, with 3,984 votes. So those votes show the red wave is being held back a little bit, and we got Darlene and Priscilla leading Doug and Victoria. Darlene up by about 1,650 or so, and Priscilla up by 1,300. So that's the results we have here. We're going to give you what we have. These are partial, obviously, and eventually another update. Okay, we have another update. Oh, this is on
switch.
Wow, this update, I don't know where these votes came from, but you see that Doug Albrecht all of a sudden shot to the top, and Victoria Loads came in second. No, actually, she's third. She's behind Darlene Barber's,
yes.
8,370, and Victoria's 8,339, and Priscilla's at 8,037. So they're all in the eights, but Doug's the top eight, then Darlene, then Victoria, then Priscilla as these updates are coming in. I can't tell you exactly where they're coming from, but I'm happy to have them. And Bobby McQuaid, my buddy, wow. Steve Watson with 2,142 votes, and Bobby McQuaid with 1,707. I thought for sure Bobby would do very well, because I didn't know Steve. I mean, he may be a really nice man, but I didn't know him. I was told that he works in maybe the LSA or something, and he did work in Millville at one time. So anyway, congratulations, Steve. He's ahead so far. The public question is still people saying no, they don't want to do away with the zoning board, and that's up by about 500 votes. Just 506 actually. So that's interesting to see how that's moving along. Again, this is not finals, but it's giving you an idea of where we are there. But Steve Watson, that was really a surprise.
Again, without any
not knowing him,
without any information that we usually get on the candidates. And you'd be able to find out a little bit more about Steve. I'm hopeful if he's elected that he's the kind of guy that we've talked about that wants to serve for the right reasons. So wish him well if he gets in.
Certainly do. And of course, Bobby's been a good friend for a long time, and is a good man. I can give you. Let me go back to the phone results, or the ones that have text me in. Morris River Township finals. Jeff Van Drew, 755 votes. The Tim Alexander's 166 votes. Doug Albrecht, leading vote getter for the county commissioners, 649 votes, followed by Victoria Loads with 640 votes. And on the Democratic side, Darlene Barber, 174. Priscilla Ocasio-Jimenez, 167. Mayor Ken Wilden has got 703 votes. So congratulations to Ken and the people's results in. That's a total votes of 833 people that voted in Morris River Township. Again, Morris River years ago was Democrat. It's now Republican. Most of Cumberland County, except for Fairfield, Bridgeton, and maybe Commercial, and I haven't gotten any results from Commercial Township. They're the only three that really still have Democratic control, or have had Democratic control.
Well, Jim, shout out to your old friend Lou Magazoo, who was in charge of the party, and it was a stronghold.
Yeah,
back in the day.
Yeah, it was.
Lou did a great job of of organizing the the party, and the party was dominant.
And of course, Skip Bowman mentioned that Lawrence Township went red. I'm sure Down Township went red. I haven't gotten any reports there, but again, that's a very Republican township as well. So that's where we are. I'll tell you, I thought this was nice that I got this morning from Mike Testa. It was interesting. It's a nice picture of Mike with Victoria and then Doug Albrecht, and it's an election alert, telling everybody today's election day and all that. So it was interesting because we have each other's cell phone numbers. So I thought that was really nice to get that.
Did you send him one back from Darlene and Priscilla?
I didn't know. Yep. So anyway, I really like Mike. In fact, it was interesting. Recently, I guess about a month ago, I went to Levoy. My grandson, Carter, was in 101 Dalmatians show, and Mike's son was in the show. And when I walked in, I saw Mike's dad and mom, and we talk about a classy guy. Mike's father is one of the nicest gentlemen you'd ever meet. That's why he's a pretty good guy, too. And Mom, I don't know Mom, but I'm sure she's a sweetheart as well. But it was neat to be there. He came over and said hello, and I saw his mom and dad, talked to them with the kids being together and doing the play. It was a lot of fun. We had a good time. No politics, just kids, grandchildren for me,
that's the way it
and his
should be.
dad, and we had a wonderful
You're there
time.
to enjoy your family and watch the grandkids perform and children perform, and
exactly.
keep the politics out of that stuff.
Yeah, that was very nice day to do that as well. And, if you have any messages, let's see, Bobby McQuaid says, hey, Jim, his uncle. Oh, okay, thank you. Bobby just told me who this Steve Watson is. His uncle was Les Watson, who was a
the
lieutenant.
policeman.
Yeah, police department
Oh,
lieutenant.
my goodness,
I
yeah.
liked the Millville Police Department. He's retired a few years ago. Thank you, Bob. 'Cause I had no idea who he was, There are I guess we're getting, Mary, some partial numbers from Millville. And Bobby, I hope you're feeling better. So, again, my producer for the football games, Ryan Narowski, said to get people to message us on Facebook while we're waiting for results. Who's going to win on Friday, Millville or Hamilton? You can put down M or H, whichever you'd like. Should be a good game. It's a state playoff.
Final.
State
South Jersey
final for Group 4.
Final.
And Millville made it last year to the Central, and they won the Central and the South. This year, it's going all the way up to playing the final. There'll be a couple more games.
They'll play
Central
Hamilton,
South.
and then the next game, if they win this one, they're successful, then they'll play the Central Jersey champ at Cherokee.
Right.
And then if they're successful there, then the final, first time ever, Group 4 state championship, true state championship,
Right.
Will be
First
at
ever.
Rutgers.
Yeah, that's pretty
And
neat.
in between is that little game for Millville with a team up north.
That's right.
So never lose sight of that game.
Now, Lionel
So
Millville
in between
game.
state championship games, and I understand, talked to our mutual friend Tom Williams, and he's doing the Vineland Ocean City game.
Oh, that's a make-up
Thursday.
game, right?
No, well, yeah, it's a.
That's
They put them in pods, and
Yeah.
and then there's extra games, and Vineland would actually go. It's kind of a, I don't know, if you look at it from us traditionalists that love Thanksgiving Day games perspective, I think it's a way for the state to kind of get rid of Thanksgiving Day and let's just have a true state champion, because Vineland would go from whatever the date was, early November, right? November 3rd or something,
Yeah,
4th?
until the
Until the
25th.
25th, 24th or whatever it is,
Yeah.
to play a game, and that's an awful long time. 10 days you can do it, but you don't want to go that long. So Vineland picked up Ocean City, who had lost, and they're playing on Thursday. Tom Williams is going to broadcast that game.
Well, that's great. I'm sure the Vineland Public School will also
Yeah, they're probably also
broadcast
doing
it as well.
Yeah.
And they do a great job. I really thank them. We work together. When they come to Millville, I give them the feed, And when we go to Vineland, they give us the video feed rather than having 18 camera people running all over the place. And the Vineland Public School has a great television program. They really, really do. And hats off to them for that as well. And of course, as Tony mentioned, this Friday night, we will be at Hamilton. Tomorrow I'll get the final approval, but I'm pretty sure that we'll be at Hamilton on Friday night. Even if we're not there on the TV side of it, we'll be broadcasting the games that we're not allowed to televise. So last year we had the finals that we went to Rutgers, and we broadcast the game on 96.1 FM WMVB, and then the next day we were able to show the game on Channel 22. So I think it's a 24-hour turnaround period. Ryan, I don't know if you were with us the time we went to Applebee's in Williamstown. We did, one year I did Williamstown football, and was it 2019? 2019, and we ended up, we weren't allowed to show the game live, so we did the game, I think it was on a Sunday afternoon, if I remember correctly. So it got done at 4 o'clock or whatever. So at 5 o'clock on Sunday afternoon at the Applebee's in Williamstown, we had a pregame show with the coach and the announcers, and then we had the game. We packed that place. There was not an empty seat in Applebee's, so people could watch it. I think we also showed it on, I don't know if we were allowed to, TV on Channel 190, but we were showing games on Channel 190 back those days as well. I also wanted to mention one of my goods, and Ryan keeps kidding me because I always keep talking about my restaurants, don't I? So one of my favorite restaurants, as you all know, is the Quinn Restaurant 2. It's at Lincoln and Landis Avenue in Vineland. Yilmaz Kankel is the owner, and this is his second anniversary. So tomorrow and Thursday, if you want to save 40% off the menu, 40% off the menu, you go there from 3 o'clock to 10 o'clock, enjoy some fabulous food, and save, save, save. And then after that's over, they're also offer my favorite meal, 2 for $25. 2 full meals with super salad, entree, vegetable, and dessert for $25. That's 2. So if you divide that in half, it's $12.50 a meal.
Can't beat it.
No, you can't, Tony. And I tell you, one of the meals I get, they don't have a lot of seafood and things like that on that 2 for $25 menu because they'd lose money. But I'd get the turkey with stuffing and like Brussels sprouts or some vegetable. I get salad and I get rice pudding, and it's $12.50 because I got a friend that's, whoever it may be, goes with me. Lots of my buddies that go out to dinner with me, we do that. We split it as well. I was just telling Ryan Horowski last night, and Ken Wilden, I was down in your neighborhood last night at the Marsford Diner, which is one of my favorite places, and they had my meal that I ordered. Their portions are enormous.
They're huge.
I ordered fried flounder and 2 vegetables. They bring the flounder out, and honestly, folks, I'm not lying, each piece of flounder was this big. I got another piece sitting still at home tonight, which I'll probably be eating at midnight when I'm still waiting for the rest of the results that we can do this. But anyway, we have, you want to put up something that we have? Do we have the congressional results? No? Anyway, the last we had on the congressional results with partial count, Jeff Van Drew winning by 19 percentage points. So that's pretty, I think we could safely call Jeff Van Drew as being reelected as our congressman. And they're now, we have the partial county results, and you see Doug Albrecht, the top vote getter with 9,633 votes, followed by his running mate, Victoria Lodes, with 9,318 votes. And for the Democrats, Darlene Barber with 8,979 votes, Priscilla Ocasio-Jimenez with 8,639 votes. The Republicans leading by 700 votes in the response of what we have so far. Again, I apologize. We don't have all the districts and wards where they're coming from, but this is partial. but it's better than nothing because we're waiting for
At least we have something.
county results, and hopefully they'll be coming up pretty soon, and maybe we'll have it. And again, folks, remember, whatever you see here doesn't necessarily, I'd say Jeff Van Drew, definitely, he's in. You don't have to worry about that. He is in. But when it comes to the county commissioners, you've still got to remember, even when all the votes that we get, they're the ones that voted today. I didn't vote today. I voted Sunday. Tony voted by mail. So there's thousands and thousands of people who voted by mail or voted early. So those votes aren't tallied. Last year they were tallied around 3 o'clock in the morning. I was awake looking at them. So, like I say, I'll post them on my Facebook page once I get them. But here again, now we're up to 60% for Jeff Van Drew. 60% of the vote that's been tallied so far. 96,725. Tim Alexander, 62,685. Michael Gallo with 1,243. And Anthony Parisi Sanchez with 583. And that's the 4 candidates running for office. But you can see how popular Jeff Van Drew is. And I hope that article I read, and I know I read it, that former President Trump was talking about considering Jeff Van Drew for vice president. Wow, what a great vice president he would be. So anyway, that's where we are with the congressional districts. Thank you, Ryan, for that situation there as well. And we're talking about restaurants. One of my very favorite restaurants in Cumberland County, truly, is the Town Tavern in Bridgeton. They have a fabulous salad bar, and they have a dessert bar, Tony.
Yep,
That's not good for you and I, the dessert bar. The salad bar is really good, and their food is excellent.
It's a terrific restaurant.
Isn't it?
And, been there many times with my friends in Bridgeton. I think Joe Blandino had his retirement party there.
Yeah. My cousin Bob Thelmy, I ran into some of the people that own the Town Tavern last night, and he was talking about Bob. And Bob was with us at our table at the Chamber of Commerce awards ceremony last week. And then later on, Denise Surigo says to me, "Look at this. Here's Bob Thelmy sent her a picture. He's at the Town Tavern." I said, "Yeah, he's there all the time. That's his," and a lot of good people there. Here's the updated numbers again for the Millville City Commission election. Right now, Stephen Watson has 2,440 votes, and my good friend Bob McQuaid has 1,924 votes. That's partial. I would suspect we got probably another 3,000 or 4,000 votes to come in. This, of course, we know this is the city of Millville. And Stephen Watson's cliche, or what he says, is working for our working out of our home. Working for our home is his slogan, and Bobby's is keep this commission moving forward, and he's been a part of the commission.
89% reporting.
89% for Millville?
That's, reporting.
Okay,
Wow, that's a
so
low
that's
total.
very close.
I mean,
yeah, it's a low
adding
number of
the
votes.
low number
Yeah,
of
I'm
votes.
surprised there aren't many more votes in
you would
Millville
think.
than that's only
I mean, not so much
she's 2,500 and
for the
2,000.
commission, but
Yeah,
you'd think
4,500.
there'd be more interest in the county.
Yeah, but that's only 4,500. The public question
I think that's
looks
gonna
like
go
it's
down.
going down to
Yeah.
defeat. There's 2,506 no's, 1,848 yeses. So the zoning board will stay in place. The voters have spoken. So again, if you total those, Tony, that's 4,300 votes, 4,350, somewhere around there, 4,354. So, again, not a large turnout of voters.
Not a large turnout.
No, for a town that must have, I would think they'd have around 10,000 voters.
Oh, my goodness.
When you think, I mean, there's
Easy.
28,000 people in the town. But again, don't forget, and that could be close, and what will happen again, like we
you
couldn't
get
declare
sworn in.
Watson or Bobby McQuaid the victor because you got those mail-ins and the early
Right.
early voting. And I voted early, so I know Bobby's got one, coming as well.
Two,
Okay, so we're
three,
both,
my wife.
all right. So, it's, again, and nothing against the Watson kid. I just didn't know him, as you said.
Yeah.
And it's a shame without having the newspapers, and I can't do it. If I had the money to be a news station, I would be thrilled to. In fact, speaking of this, without Paul Ritter, without Jim Beebe, without Bob Connor, God bless you, Bob, and Paul and Jim, and without Ron Durham, who's there for us for everything. Ron said, Jim, I'll do the election. Ron does the Hall of Fame, the Thunderbolt Hall of Fame program for us, and is always there and is always supporting. And folks, what happens, the people that are doing this, think about them. They're the ones that's making the games possible, the election coverage possible, the programming that we do that's there to serve the community. Without them, I can't do it. You know, I got to have somebody pick up the sponsorship, because as much as Ryan likes me and George likes me, they still have to get a little bit of money so that they can get gas to put in their car to get home. Now, Tony, he likes me a lot, so I got to take him and Barb to dinner sometime. We'll have to go to the Coach Room restaurant for dinner.
There you go.
In fact, I talked to Joey Surace, who I tell you it's tough. He and Nick Caselda are my two favorite Republicans. There's no question about it. But Joe wants to get together and have dinner, and is going to bring his brother, super guy, state trooper, Anthony Jr., his dad, Anthony Sr., just really good people. So we hopefully will get together at the Town Tavern, too. It's one of our
Jim,
favorites.
I have some current numbers from Darlene Barber.
Oh, good. Super.
Doug, this is 52% of the vote-in. Doug Albrecht, 9,633. Victoria Loads, 9,318. Darlene Barber, 8,979. And Priscilla Jimenez, 8,639. So that's what you have up on the board.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that is what you have
It
on
is
the
it,
board.
yeah.
Yep.
There's the totals so far. With how many percent did it say? You did say percentage.
Yeah, I did.
61%.
52, no, 50. Well, Darlene has on here 52.
Okay.
Oh, 52% of the districts reporting.
Okay.
And she wanted to know, Jim, if you would like her to call in.
Sure.
So she'll jump on a call if you call her.
Okay.
I know we're down, but we're willing to talk. Well, Darlene is a wonderful person.
Yes, she is. Absolutely. She is amazing. She's done a lot.
While you're calling Darlene, I have to read this from our dear friend Bill Whalen.
Okay.
He said that, Jim, don't you just love it how our friend Tony balances the discussion of football and the elections? He was wrong about his exit, not running again for fear he'd lose. Let me tell you, there's one great man there, Bill Whalen.
He is. He's a wonderful person. Hey, Darlene, you ready? Okay. Here's the Cumberland County Commission Director, Darlene Barber, and she's up at the campaign headquarters in Vineland. And Darlene's pretty close.
It is a close race, Jim. Very close. And hello to you and Commissioner Surace there. It's good to it's good to talk to you guys. We're very happy. We think we're still hanging in there. We got some votes that are still out there, Bridgeton and Vineland, so we're optimistic.
Well, and you know, the other thing too, Darlene, that Tony and I have been talking about, I voted early, he voted by mail, so those totals won't even come in until later on. Last year, I think they came in around 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, because they now are being totaled now, right? They can't.
They are being totaled.
Mm-hmm.
The vote by mail actually was ready to be run today. They were allowed to open them
Oh, I
early
see.
this year.
Oh, great.
So they
Okay.
are included in the totals as they come in by city, by municipality.
Oh, thank you.
So, yes, so you're seeing some pretty accurate numbers. The things that are accurate are when the machines were down this morning and emergency ballots were in and provisionals. So, but we're still hopeful. We're very hopeful. Where our teams from both Bridgeton and Vineland are very optimistic about the vote in those two cities. So we're hanging in there.
Well, I got to tell everybody, I admire you so much. And when I was the county commissioner, you were the deputy director. And honestly, Darlene went to every single meeting that I went to, committee meetings. She was there for economic development. She was there for the empowerment zone, for the college, for the Cumberland County Tech. You know, you really work very, very hard. And your running mate, who's never served in government, is one of the hardest working individuals I've ever seen in my life. So you're a dynamic duo, both of you. God bless you both for the hard work you've done on the board, and Priscilla's done out campaigning with you. You used up a lot of shoe leather.
Well, thank you, Jim. I appreciate that, and it's really good to talk to you guys. I got to say that, you know, in 2 years, $1.2 billion in private industry investment, a new technical school, new opportunities for kids, and plenty of other good things that have happened in our county. I'm very happy of what's happened, and there's a lot of good things to do. So we're optimistic. We're hanging in.
Well, keep hanging in, and the best to you and to Priscilla, and call us anytime you'd like.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All the best, Darlene.
All right. See ya.
Thanks, Darlene.
Bye-bye.
You know, Nick, I don't know if you guys are watching at the Republican headquarters, but you guys are welcome to call also. Victoria or Doug, they want to call, give us an update on what they see, what they have. But that's interesting, ladies and gentlemen, that she cleared that up, because last year they weren't allowed to count those mail-ins.
Right.
Your vote's been counted.
Yeah.
I don't know about mine because it was yesterday, but I imagine that should be. We actually should be able to get them all in maybe before, even before midnight or something, rather
Maybe,
than just,
Maybe you get a little more sleep.
Yeah, that's true.
I doubt it. You don't sleep much.
I'm a night owl.
You know, people that are anywhere that are critical of the election procedure are so off base. Because if you watch and are part of watching how they, operate in the Board of Elections, I mean, there are obviously sometimes, like she had mentioned, the voter machines were down. Well, that happens.
Yeah.
And you've got to deal with it. But in terms of some kind of ballot stuffing or crazy stuff that people want to allude to, that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
No, and you've got Republicans and Democrats there. Checks and balances is in place.
Absolutely.
I mean, I went yesterday. Everything was very well done, very professional. And to the poll workers, God bless them. In fact, several people I'd ask about, like my co-host who does a lot of stuff with me is Erica Milbourne. And I said, Erica, you think you might want to come in? She said, Jim, I'm a poll worker. I said, that's good. And then several other people I talked to, they were working the polls. And that's a tough job. You got to be there at 5:30 in the morning. By the time you get done, it's 9 o'clock at night. And, that's a long time.
That's a long time.
You'll never see me as a poll worker. So, well, I could stay up all night and get there at 5:30, but I'd be a little tired
I remember the years when we used to vote. There used to be a voting poll at the high school.
Yeah.
And it was between the auditorium and the gym and in the hallway there, and that's where my office was. And so we had to barricade the kids from coming into and 2 different districts voted there. You probably remember the numbers,
yes.
Jim, but 2 different districts voted. So if you came in one door, that's where your machine was. You came in the other door, your machine was on the other side. And that was an interesting time because the kids would see these barriers. Sometimes they didn't realize what they were there for, so they'd hop over them, and then we'd have to, shoo them away. But those poll workers, they do a great job.
They do. Well, just national-wise, Greg Abbott, Republican, defeated Beto O'Rourke for the governor's place in Texas, so that stayed Republican as well. And he grabbed national attention, Beto O'Rourke, when he almost upset Ted Cruz. Did you see Ted Cruz? They threw a can of beer at him the other day.
At the Phillies game.
It was Houston, though.
Oh, yeah, it was,
Houston's parade. It wasn't in Philly. Oh, did they?
Oh,
yeah,
I
you
thought
know
at
what?
the game.
No,
He
they
came to the
did.
game,
They
yeah.
did also. That's right.
Yeah.
That happened. Somebody threw beer on him.
Former president of his class at Princeton with
Oh, was it?
my daughter-in-law's class.
Oh, that's who threw the beer?
No. He was president of the class at Princeton when she was in school, same class.
Oh, Ted
Cruz was.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
No, I just saw it was a Houston parade. Somebody threw a can of beer in the parade, and it I don't know, deflected. It
Well, here again,
that's
whether you're a Cruz
yeah,
pro or con,
yeah.
you
that's
know,
not-
come on. That's
well, look at the poor guy. What's her name's husband? That got his head beat with a hammer.
Pelosi.
Yeah, Pelosi.
You know, you're a Pelosi
Yeah.
person or not. I
Yeah.
mean, come on, what
Yeah.
are you doing?
Yeah, it's a human
that
being,
stuff is,
you know,
and that's the scary stuff.
It is
right
yeah.
or wrong.
Yeah.
That you just don't like to see,
Yeah.
happen. It just discourages people then from well, why do I want to get involved with that?
Yeah.
My husband will get hit over the head with a hammer.
Yeah. Well, and it's a shame. The threats, the Michigan governor had her threatening kidnapping or killing her or whatever. I mean, this is happening more and more, and this is a shame because this isn't what human beings are supposed to be. That's why they have the two-party system. You know, you win, you lose, whatever it might be. You accept it, and you move on.
Sure. And Darlene, all full of class, calls up. They're behind.
Yeah.
She's confident. But, if she loses, she'll move on.
Yeah. Yep.
Just as you did, my friend.
Absolutely. 5:15 a.m., Mary Messick said, and they're there till a little past 8:30, so just about the same amount of hours I was talking about. But don't forget, you can leave your comment on prediction of who's going to win this Friday night's football game, Hamilton or Millville. It's the state South Jersey Finals, and Millville is the returning champion from last year. But Hamilton's got a very good ball club, and we think we'll be able to bring it to you live here on Channel 22, on YouTube, the Quinn Broadcasting YouTube and Facebook channels as well. And we are getting some partial updates. Arlene gave us some, and of course, I think, would you put those up again, Ryan, the updates that for the county commissioners? Obviously, Jeff Andrew, I think he won before the ballots stopped being counted.
If FanDuel had a bet on that election, I'd have put some money on that.
I think that was pretty safe to say. But Jeff Andrew is up by 60%, Tim Alexander 39%, 106,000 votes to 68,082 votes. And Tim Alexander's a great guy. I don't care who ran against Jeff Andrew. That person was going to lose. Jeff was going to be the winner, and as you see, he is the winner. And here's the county commission results that we have right now. They're pretty close. Doug Albrecht, top vote getter with 9,633 votes. Tory Lodes, number 2 at 9,318. And on the Democratic side, Darlene Barber with 8,979. And Priscilla Ocasio Jimenez with 8,639. So Darlene is about 400 votes or so.
450.
450 behind Victoria Lodes. And it's interesting, Doug Albrecht was top vote getter 3 years ago. He was top vote getter in the city of Vineland's council election years ago. I remember I was mayor of Millville. Mayor Barcy was the mayor of Vineland. I remember he sat on the UEZ committee with Mayor Barcy and Joe Durrell and I. So I'm not sure what year that was, but I know he was a Vineland councilman. And we talked about the edge that teachers have, but with Doug, his dad Bob, for, many, many, many years, has owned Bob Albrecht Tire on Park Avenue in Vineland. So, and, that helps too, because as we talked about, I got a funny story, though, with Doug Albrecht. Went to school, St. Mary's, with Margie Tarazi. Margie became a nun She was Sister Judith, and she taught at St. Francis. And she always liked little Dougie because he was like first grade. She had him. She always spoke about him to me. So I got to meet Big Dougie. I said, "Okay, I know your nun, Sister Judith, taught him," and I'm sure he remembers that too as well. Sister Judith, and is still in the convent, and she's doing pretty well. In fact, I held an older St. Mary Magdalene get-together for kids that went to St. Mary Magdalene that graduated like before 1965 or something like that at the Motorsports Park. She came. We had 5 women and 5 girls in that class that became nuns.
Wow.
2 stayed, 3 ended up leaving, but 2 stayed. Kathleen Dacey's the other one that's still a nun. And that's a career, vocation you don't see a lot of women getting into anymore, Tony. And it's even hard to get priests as well.
I was just going to say they just had a plea for more priests because and that's really why when you talk about St. John's closing up, there's just not enough priests to sustain two parishes and in Millville. It's just
and now I mean we've gone from 2 full packed parishes, St. Mary's Magdalene and St. John Bosco, to All Saints Parish, which is the joining of the 2, and maybe it's half full at the most.
Yeah, they're probably going to cut back on the number of masses.
Yeah, right. Father Idler has a lot to do by himself.
It's a dilemma,
but
certainly.
Less and less people, and it's not just the Catholic Church; it's the mainstay, the Baptist, the Methodist, and all that. Less and less people, unfortunately, are going to church. But we are here, and we're going to take a break. And we're going to see if we could get some more totals for you, and we'll be back right after these messages.
In the heart of the farmlands of Bridgeton, New Jersey, there is a company that has its roots deep in history. Spanning over 175 years, the Cumberland Insurance Group stands strong and proud, protecting the lives and properties of over 100,000 policyholders. Businesses pride themselves for hitting the 50-year mark or the 100-year mark, but the Cumberland Insurance Group shows that a strong business with the mindset of putting its people first can last generations. The groundwork has been laid for the Cumberland Insurance Group to stand tall for another 175 years. With its ever-growing expansions with state-of-the-art technology, Cumberland Insurance will be there to protect its policyholders for years to come. Surviving some of the toughest weather conditions Mother Nature can throw, they are ready to take on the challenges that lie ahead.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
Imagine living without pain. For over 35 years, Doctors Beebe and Doyle have helped thousands of people find relief from all types of pain. Millville Chiropractic Center has 4 doctors on staff specializing in hands-on or light-touch, drug-free pain relief methods. The examination, x-rays, therapies, and adjustments are all performed at one location. Schedule a consultation today. Enjoy life without pain and discomfort. Millville Chiropractic Center, the area's #1 pain relief center.
In the heart of the farmlands of Bridgeton, New Jersey, there is a company that has its roots deep in history. Spanning over 175 years, the Cumberland Insurance Group stands strong and proud, protecting the lives and properties of over 100,000 policyholders. Businesses pride themselves for hitting the 50-year mark or the 100-year mark, but the Cumberland Insurance Group shows that a strong business with the mindset of putting its people first can last generations. The groundwork has been laid for the Cumberland Insurance Group to stand tall for another 175 years. With its ever-growing expansions with state-of-the-art technology, Cumberland Insurance will be there to protect its policyholders for years to come. Surviving some of the toughest weather conditions Mother Nature can throw, they are ready to take on the challenges that lie ahead.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
Imagine living without pain. For over 35 years, Doctors Beebe and Doyle have helped thousands of people find relief from all types of pain. Millville Chiropractic Center has 4 doctors on staff specializing in hands-on or light-touch, drug-free pain relief methods. The examination, x-rays, therapies, and adjustments are all performed at one location. Schedule a consultation today. Enjoy life without pain and discomfort. Millville Chiropractic Center, the area's #1 pain relief center.
In the heart of the farmlands of Bridgeton, New Jersey, there is a company that has its roots deep in history. Spanning over 175 years, the Cumberland Insurance Group stands strong and proud, protecting the lives and properties of over 100,000 policyholders. Businesses pride themselves for hitting the 50-year mark or the 100-year mark, but the Cumberland Insurance Group shows that a strong business with the mindset of putting its people first can last generations. The groundwork has been laid for the Cumberland Insurance Group to stand tall for another 175 years. With its ever-growing expansions with state-of-the-art technology, Cumberland Insurance will be there to protect its policyholders for years to come. Surviving some of the toughest weather conditions Mother Nature can throw, they are ready to take on the challenges that lie ahead.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
Imagine living without pain. For over 35 years, Doctors Beebe and Doyle have helped thousands of people find relief from all types of pain. Millville Chiropractic Center has 4 doctors on staff specializing in hands-on or light-touch, drug-free pain relief methods. The examination, x-rays, therapies, and adjustments are all performed at one location. Schedule a consultation today. Enjoy life without pain and discomfort. Millville Chiropractic Center, the area's #1 pain relief center.
It's election night in South Jersey. Quinn Broadcasting, in association with our partners and sponsors, bring you reports from around the cities, county, and state. We'll have the election results with the projected and declared winners and losers. It all happens here on Quinn Broadcasting's Election Central. And now, let's join our hosts for tonight's election results.
Welcome back to Election 2022. I have the woman that's helping us so much tonight. Thank you, Celeste Riley. County Clerk is with us. Tell us what's happening, Celeste. I know we did find the results. 73%, is that what's the percent that you have in so far?
So 72 districts are reporting.
Okay.
Remember this morning there was what they call a glitch with the machines where there was a delay from in the 6 to 7 time frame, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. time frame, where the machines were not programmed to turn on because of the daylight savings time. So anyway, because of that, anybody who voted during that period of time with an emergency ballot, and not on the machine, with an emergency ballot, that those ballots have to be tabulated by the actual poll worker at the end of the night. All right. So because of that, it will delay some of the districts from closing the polls, meaning to closing them to bring them into Vineland City Hall, Millville City Hall, Bridgeton City Hall. So some of Bridgeton is in, some of Vineland is in, some of Millville is in. Most of the townships are in other than Fairfield. In fact, all the townships are in other than Fairfield. And that's what we're waiting on. So early voting's done. Vote by mail's in. Other than any other ballots that come in tomorrow or that are in the cure process or whatever. So I don't know what the number is for the emergency ballots. So I guess I will get that later tonight from the Board of Elections.
Well, thank you so much, Celeste. I really appreciate your updating us.
My pleasure.
And keep up the good work. Take care. Have a good night. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Well, that helps. Ryan, do you have those numbers now? Not yet, but we do know where we needed to go to get them, and you heard what Celeste said about the delays. And boy, I never thought about Tony. Speaking of that, I screwed up. I had to get my grandchildren. We're meeting for lunch, and I had to pick them up at noon. So, you know me, I don't get up till late. So I go to bed, and instead of putting the clock back an hour, I put it up ahead an hour. So I'm waking up at 10:30, and my phone's saying 8:30, so I'm 2 hours out of time. So but the reason I say that, she's talking about how that's a good point, especially with the early voting. If you voted on Friday or Saturday, you were still in daylight saving time, and then I voted Sunday, so I was in Eastern Standard Time. Maybe one of those votes are mine that's out there. Now, this was this morning, she said, from 6 to 7 a.m., where had not adjusted, which is understandable. It's
in the cloud.
Right, yeah, exactly. Applying to Mary. Feel like a pincushion. Let's say Millville. Okay, Millville will beat Hamilton, Mary Messick said, by 12 points. Thank you, Mary. Yep. And anybody else want to tell us who they think is going to win the Millville-Hamilton game on Saturday or on Friday night? Let us know, please. And we will be getting some. She said 72 districts reported in. They're still waiting on some from Millville, some from Vineland, some from Bridgeton, and some from Fairfield Township. All the other townships are in. So I'm going to have to text my buddy in Commercial Township to see how he did. Visit V. Nope, don't want to call. I got a text. What did we do without cell phones? Oh, my God. At least when I go to the doctor, I don't mind sitting there waiting a half hour because I got the phone.
Instant access.
Yes, it is, isn't it? Wow. And it's funny, I don't get the paper, but I buy the Daily Journal subscription online.
Right.
And of course, this one, he's the old-fashioned guy. Tell him how many papers you get.
No. I don't get any. I get one Sunday bulletin.
I thought you got
Sunday Inquirer. Oh, I did get a ton. Okay. At one time, I got 13. Back in the day of the Courier Post, the Evening Bulletin, I got them all.
Yeah,
but now we're in the digital age.
Yeah, it's immediate too. It's like, wow, it's unbelievable. Well, but this also is this part of this is what's done away with newspapers. It's done away with the advertising. It's very difficult for me to get advertisers because people just go on Facebook and they say it. Now, on the positive side, let me tell you why you should advertise with Quinn Broadcasting. Millville football last year, of course, they won the state championship, had over, was it 500,000 views, Ryan? I believe.
I think so.
How many people reached, was it? 500,000 people reached. So, I mean, that's pretty sizable amount of people. And what's nice, too, is even like when Mayor Finucci and I, he's probably the most popular that does a show with me. When he and I do a show, there's like maybe 4,000 people that watch. And with Facebook, we can see the number of you that are with us tonight and watch us. So we appreciate it. Believe me. Everyone, oh, thank goodness. I just text him. How'd you do? This is one of my very, very good friends, and he's a wonderful man, is Mike Vizard. And he is a Democrat, and he won. And 62-38, he won big. So congratulations, Mike. I just texted him and say, how'd you do? So we got it up here. Mike Vizard, 62%. Justice Strawmiller, 38%. So Commercial Township stays Democrat, along with Fairfield. And Greenwich may be Democrat, too. So maybe I'm wrong there. It could be 3 townships and the city of Bridgeton. So that's 4 that are democratically controlled out of 14. And years ago, it used to be Shiloh was always, this is a funny story, Tony, at Shiloh, when they had the selection of the landfill. That's the only time I ever had my life threatened, too. But seriously.
You and Ed Salmon both.
Yeah, because he was on the board with me.
Yeah.
And anyway.
He was the director.
Yeah, that's right. It was his fault.
Yeah.
It was his fault.
Were you in the auditorium when the
I was. Oh, filmed? My God, I was.
And there were a lot of angry people.
Yeah. I was doing the Auction Time show then on a Sunday night, and I had to have the headphones on because people would say obscenities, so I couldn't let the public hear what I heard on the headphone. This guy called me on the headphone and said, when you walk out of that door tonight, I'm going to blow your blankety-blank head off. I said, ooh, this is good for $8,000. That's how much I was making. And I got my life threatened. Like, ooh, I don't think that's a good thing.
And I bet every one of those people, and certainly the people that live in
Deerfield,
yeah, are thrilled that landfill's there.
Well, they got a lot of benefit from it.
They got tremendous benefit from it.
Okay, here we go. The Millville Board of Education. Let's see. It looks like the incumbents. It is the 3 incumbents. Mike Wilden, number 1. Kevin Selden, number 2. And Rick Cott, who's one of my good buddies, number 3. So I saw Kevin today at Rossi Honda, and I told Kevin what nice things somebody said about him. And Mike Wilden, great guy. Rick Cott, super police officer, PAL officer, sergeant, and all that stuff. As you said, I think I know Tom McFarland from Boy Scouts. He was the highest vote getter that didn't win. And then Charlie McGuire, I don't think I know Charlie. He had 1855, and Stan Baker finished 6th with 1414. So that's the Millville Board of Education. The incumbents are back. Wilden, Aselta, and Cott were the 3 incumbents, and they are going back to the school board. And I know that Tony Trongone likes all 3 of them. And Mayor Kelly, as we suspected, won big, 71%. That's the total voters? Oh, my goodness, that's all the people that voted? That's not good for the Democrats in the county-wide. 1,148 votes for Mayor Kelly, 463 for Teodoro Martinez. So, Mayor Kelly, congratulations. And his council slate all won because there was no competition for them, and they all won. So,
yeah, I mean, that's a really low turnout.
Isn't that sad that it's only 1,600 people that voted?
Yeah.
You know?
And okay, that's a, Democratic stronghold, but by the same token, it's just sad that more people don't take part in the democratic process.
Yeah. Well, and you got to give the Republicans credit. They've always been voters. They always vote.
Yep.
And the year Jeff Trout won was the monsoon. In fact, Paul Ritter and I were talking about that the other day. Jeff won who else? There were three. Oh, Hal Johnson, and I think it was Art Marchand. I think they were the three that became county freeholders then. It's commissioners now, freeholders then. And it was a off-year election, and it was a monsoon. It rained and rained and rained. And God bless the Republicans. They're not afraid to get wet. They went out and they voted. They voted, and there were three good men they voted in. And I'm sure they must have taken over control. That was, I think, 2001, because Jeff left us. Jeff, I'll tell you what, my best year, 4 years I ever served, was with Jeff Van Drew, or Jeff Trout, rather. Jimmy Parent, John Hollingshead, Joe Durrell, and myself, the first 4 years in Millville City Commission. You see the public question. It's still quite a bit of distance. 2849 say they do not want to do away with the zoning board. 2041 do want to do away with the zoning board. So that's holding pretty strong. I imagine these are getting close to all the final numbers. Do we have the one on Bob McQuaid? And okay, thank you. Bob and Steve will be the next one coming up. But you see the Zoning Board of Adjustments looks like it's going to stay in place right now, 2,800. And here's, wow, the one between Steve Watson and Bob McQuaid. Steve, 2713, Bob, 2194, 55% to 45%. Surprised, I really am. But Steve, God bless you, and I'm sure you'll do a good job if it continues in this situation here with the 500 some vote difference, and we're getting. Looks like there must have been maybe 6,000 or 7,000 people who voted in Millville. As we're looking at these numbers right now, there's about not even 6. Well, so five there, a little over 5. So again, but with Bridgeton, it was only 100, or was it 1,100, something like that. Yeah. It was a small number. But again, what happens there in Bridgeton, you really didn't have any competition. The fellow that was running, Martinez guy, nobody knew him, and they knew the mayor really didn't need their votes, so that was the way it was going to.
The mayor actually went out and had the campaign people told me, I mean, he's a competitor, he didn't want to lose, so he didn't just assume. He went out and did some things, but
he had good
still not many people voting. It's a shame.
It is. Now here's the count. Wow, these are moved up. The numbers.
It's a red wave, man.
It sure is. Yep. 28% for Doug Albrecht, 14,232. Victoria Lodes, 13,865. Darlene Barber, the current executive county commissioner and the director of the County Commission Board, 11,568. Priscilla Ocasio Jimenez, 11,163. So 22% for Priscilla, 23% for Darlene, 27% for Victoria, and 28% for Doug Albrecht, who is going to be the top vote getter, it appears, unless something changes. I don't know how many more votes from Vineland. Of course, Doug is from Vineland, and Priscilla's from Vineland, Victoria's from Vineland, and Darlene is from Upper Deerfield Township. And the non-educator of the three that are in education or were in education finished behind the number one man is the businessman who has Bob Albrecht Tires on Park Avenue in Vineland. So this is, as we talked about it, this is a red wave that's continuing. And you see that again with Jeff Van Drew's situation. He's up to 61% of the vote tallied, to 38% by Tim Alexander, and the other guys, Gallo at 0.8% and Sanchez at 0.4%. But Jeff Van Drew with a very, very impressive run. Not surprising, but congratulations to Jeff Van Drew and his team for a very successful run and being returned to Congress. We're really very happy for Jeff. And Mike Visser did message me back. So that's your congressional situation. And as we had up a little bit later, earlier, Mike Visser was leading sizably 2-1 over Justice Straubmuller in Commercial Township. So it looks like Commercial will continue to be Democratic And I got a voicemail here, so maybe I can let's look at what they said on the voicemail.
Jason Cossaburn is trying to get Steve to call him.
It says it's Frank and Sharon watching the results, wondering why they hadn't put anything up about the school board. And hold on, that's pretty important, but for some reason, I don't even showing any results. Hopefully you can address it. Do we have school board results for Millville, right? Did we get them for Vineland? We don't have Vineland. Okay. Any school board results we get, we certainly will put them up, but we're limited to what's given to us. Mike Vizard with 288 votes, Justice Strawmiller with 177, at 62% to 38% on Commercial Township, and Mike Vizard is currently the mayor, and Fletcher Jameson is the township deputy mayor, and he's also a Democrat. So,
Our man Fletcher.
Yep, he's a good man. Okay, on the Vineland School Board, Mrs. Cottaspati is number one, Kim Cottaspati, number one. Nick Fiocchi, number two. John Sabrana, number three. So it's the incumbents. Over 6,000 votes they each received. So Cottaspati first, Fiocchi second, Sabrana third. All three are incumbents. So that, I hope that helps you. In Millville, it was Mike Wilden, Rick Cott, and Kevin Aselta. So there you see the Millville ones. So those we haven't, Bridgeton, there was no competition. So, and most of the other townships didn't have competition. So I don't know what other school, well, Deerfield Township had competition, but we don't have anything on that or on the township committee either. I don't know, Deerfield Township didn't have it on the school board, but they did have competition for the township committee. Maybe I can get another friend of mine to text me and see if she has the results on Deerfield Township. And we'll be back with more, and we're not going away until midnight. Just Tony and I talk 11 and 12 anyway. Come on, Tony. So we'll just talk here instead of on the phone. We'll be back right after these messages.
In the heart of the farmlands of Bridgeton, New Jersey, there is a company that has its roots deep in history. Spanning over 175 years, the Cumberland Insurance Group stands strong and proud, protecting the lives and properties of over 100,000 policyholders. Businesses pride themselves for hitting the 50-year mark or the 100-year mark, but the Cumberland Insurance Group shows that a strong business with the mindset of putting its people first can last generations. The groundwork has been laid for the Cumberland Insurance Group to stand tall for another 175 years. With its ever-growing expansions with state-of-the-art technology, Cumberland Insurance will be there to protect its policyholders for years to come. Surviving some of the toughest weather conditions Mother Nature can throw, they are ready to take on the challenges that lie ahead.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
Imagine living without pain. For over 35 years, Doctors Beebe and Doyle have helped thousands of people find relief from all types of pain. Millville Chiropractic Center has 4 doctors on staff specializing in hands-on or light-touch, drug-free pain relief methods. The examination, x-rays, therapies, and adjustments are all performed at one location. Schedule a consultation today. Enjoy life without pain and discomfort. Millville Chiropractic Center, the area's #1 pain relief center.
It's election night in South Jersey. Quinn Broadcasting, in association with our partners and sponsors, bring you reports from around the cities, county, and state. We'll have the election results with the projected and declared winners and losers. It all happens here on Quinn Broadcasting's Election Central. And now, let's join our hosts for tonight's election results.
Welcome back to Election 2022. We just have an update that in Deerfield Township, Brian Casper and Anthony Lamentier Sr. both won their positions. Their opponents were Carol Casper and John Stanzione. They ran on the Democratic ticket, but Brian Casper and Anthony Lamentier Sr., who is an incumbent, ran on the Republican ticket and were part of the red wave, and congratulations to them. We are getting some results that I can tell you about as they come through. I did try to call the congressman, but I got his voicemail. I'm sure he's busy being congratulated down in Sea Isle. I believe they do it at the Lobster Loft or whatever that's called there. Very nice place. And when he was a Democrat, I used to go there. It was a neat place to go to, you know. But I still really think the world of Jeff Van Drew. He's a good man, one of the hardest public servants you'll ever find. And there you see. And God bless Tim Alexander. To be able to even run and put in all the time and effort he did against Jeff Van Drew was quite a feat on his part. And my condolences to him. 121,587 for Jeff, 75,576 for Tim. And Jeff Van Drew is solid as a rock, going back as our congressman once again for the 1st Legislative District here in South Jersey, which takes in Salem County, Cape May County, parts of Atlantic, and parts of Gloucester, I believe, as well, maybe even parts of others. And there you see the Jeff Van Drew, the winner of the House of Representatives with 61%, and Michael Gallo with 1,594 votes, and Anthony Sanchez with 756 votes. And, of course, the two major party contenders, the red wave really washed over Tim Alexander and pushed him out, and it really pushed Jeff Van Drew forward. Last year was a big red wave. It looks like this year is very similar. And again, gasoline, just about $4 a gallon. Inflation is here. You know, and as Tony talked about, the county commissioners don't have anything to do with that. But unfortunately for Darlene and for Priscilla, they are labeled as a Democrat. And it used to be very popular to be a Democrat before, you know, things have started to change. And especially with the Trump era, there was a lot of people that loved Donald Trump and, you know, went his way. And now, of course, and it is not uncommon when a president takes over, like Biden did in 2020, the House and the Senate flip if they're, in this case, they were both Democrat. House and Senate was Democrat. Senate just barely Democrat. They were 50-50. The one vote came from the vice president to give the Democrats the edge. So the Vice President Harris gave the edge. But 2 years later, and if you look at history, 2 years later, usually it flips. The Senate goes from Democrat to Republican when you have a Democratic governor, or Democratic president rather, and it flips from the House flips from Democrat to Republican. So as you go watch national news, I'm pretty sure that's happened. This is the other thing I wanted to talk about, Tony. We, you know, somewhat you and I on a local level had this advantage also. But you know what they're doing? Think about it. Dr. Oz. Oh, my God, I know Dr. Oz. He helped me get skinny. No, he didn't. I'm lying. But, you know, I watched him on TV all the time. Dr. Oz. So he's a celebrity, just like Donald Trump.
Walker.
Yeah, great football player for Donald Trump's team.
And I say this in no disparity. I've got relatives in Georgia. I watched Herschel Walker, great football player, great athlete. I bet he does not know the three forms of government.
No.
You know, I mean, he has no experience, zero, but he will vote the agenda that they wish to put forth. And I think that's sad, representing those folks down there more than anything. But that's where we are.
Yeah.
Celebrity.
Yeah.
Look at
Yep.
Trump, no experience,
Yep.
first president ever that has never held an office, ever.
Yes, absolutely. Not even
So,
school board.
you know, but
that's
well-known.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's the
And it's a
notoriety.
celebrity. Yeah, it's a notoriety.
It really is. And,
And-
and I'll tell you, my son Gary is friends with Mark Cuban, and I, one day I said to Gary several years ago, I said, "Do you think Mark Cuban might want to run for president?" And Gary texted him, and he texted Gary back and said, "I wouldn't do that to my family." But then Trump took a jab at him a year or two ago or something. I don't know what he said to him. And then he perked up a little bit. And then just recently I read the whole story, and he's definitely not going to run. But there's a celebrity that I like that seems to be common sense. He's wealthy. He's nice to people. And you talk about some more celebrities because I got to take a drink.
Well, I just think that's the way that we're headed. It's trending now that, we have a tie in percentage. In Commercial Township now, Mike Vizard and Justin Strawmiller, although Vizard is ahead in the popular vote.
Holy cow. That's shocking. Well, some districts I guess I hadn't reported because Mike said it was close. I thought he'd already won it.
Yeah, I did too.
So that may go, with the red wave, may go Commercial Township Republican. It's very close, like. How many districts reported, do you know? That was 100%. Well, then,
So that should be
then
the,
it
that
should be,
the final
unless
vote.
there's some absentee or something coming in.
Right.
And Mike should be able to retain it. Wow.
But that seems to be the trend, right?
It does.
And we're
yeah.
talking about that
well,
people.
The Tupperville guy, remember? The coach? There's-
Tupperville down in
Yeah.
South Carolina.
Yeah.
That was a longtime coach. I think that and look at me. I mean, I had no experience.
Yeah. But you were the coach and the teacher.
I'm
yeah.
guilty of the same.
Yeah. You're a
celebrity
local celebrity.
at a lower level. But certainly when you're running for some higher office,
Yeah.
I would think certainly president or Senate or Congress. You should probably take a few steps along the way
Well-
to learn the ropes. I had so much to learn in county government that it was mind-boggling to me. And when I was asked when there was a vacancy at the directorship, well, you've been here. Why don't you be the director? And I immediately talked to Joe Durella, who had 16 years public service
Right,
to city,
Yeah.
and I said, Joe, you're the guy because you've been there. I've been
Yeah.
here 2 years.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out, where the office is. you know the routine, and I think you'd agree. Joe's years as a director
Oh, he
were
was great.
outstanding.
Super guy.
Joe served the county very
he
well.
really did. If you put those up again, thank you. You see, do you know the percent of districts or anything on this? 90%? Okay, so with 90% of districts reporting, Doug Albrecht, top vote getter with 15,493 votes, his running mate Victoria Lodes, number 2 with 15,088 votes, incumbent Darlene Barber, current Cumberland County Commission Director, with 12,188, and her running mate Priscilla Ocasio Jimenez with 11,761 votes, and that is 90% of the vote in. Again, it looks like the red wave has washed over the county again, as it did last year, and Priscilla was part of the red wave loss last year. She ran hard with Joe Durella, talk about two great people, and they lost out. You're never going to find two better people than Darlene Barber, who's done 9 years and was the the deputy director, the director, and has a love for Cumberland County. But you know what? You just can't run away from the red wave. And it's been, last year was a red wave. This year appears to be the red wave as well.
And Jim, I think, we have to congratulate not only Doug and Victoria for winning, but, the Republican Party and Mike Testa, because they were organized their campaign and got the votes out.
Yes, they did.
I remember years Ed Salmon telling me yard signs are great and whatever, but you got to get the vote out.
Yeah.
And you got to make sure you have a organization, and nobody was better at that than Ed.
Oh, my
Having
goodness.
an organization
Yeah, no, you bet.
to get the vote out. And hats off to the
Yeah.
to the winners. And the Democratic Party needs to regroup and see what direction that they can change. You're defeated, but it's never over. And I also want to congratulate Darlene on her 9 years. Outstanding service to the county, great leader, great person. I got to meet Priscilla through you.
Yep.
You had talked to me so much about her, dynamo.
Yeah.
And I hope that, how many times Abraham Lincoln lost, I hope Priscilla will stay active in the party and remain an active contributor, because she has an awful lot to offer.
Yes, she does. Very, very bright lady. I was honored to get to know her. Just a tremendous person, great worker, unbelievable.
Hard worker.
Very, very bright. She has her doctorate. She's a principal in an elementary school in Pittsgrove Township, right?
Yep.
And I know how hard she worked. And yet, no matter how hard you work, when the time is there, it's tough, the time with the red wave coming. And yeah, Mike Testa and the Republican organization, congratulations. Great effort there to do that. And at one point, it's interesting, too, because as you see, Jeff Van Drew has done so very well, and he switched a few years ago at the request of President Donald Trump, and had a tremendous turnout down at Wildwood, and has done well. I think Jeff could run as an independent and probably win no matter where he's just so very
Probably
popular.
at this point.
But you know what? I wanted to talk about Jeff for a minute. You talked about you going in with no experience. Jeff worked his way up. I don't know. I think he may have been on the Dennis Township School Board.
Yes.
But he was mayor of Dennis Township, or Township Committee.
Served on a committee.
And then he was one of the few, if I remember correctly, for a year or two, was actually a freeholder in the county, which is almost unheard of. And then, of course, he went to the Assembly, to the Senate. He knocked my friend Nick Caselda out of the Senate seat, too. That I don't know if I'll forgive you for it now, Jeff, because I love Nick. But he did, and as a Democrat, he won the Assembly, or the Assembly, and then the Senate, and then brought in Andrzejak and Andrzejak and Milam then, and I guess, or whatever combination was, Milam, Land, and Andrzejak were his Assembly people during the period of time that he was there. So congratulations to Congressman Jeff Van Drew, who won really big tonight. 61% of the votes were his. And, again, to those who lost, I've lost, folks. It's not easy. I know, especially, this was funny, Tony. The newspaper reporter, I'll never forget, came up to me. And when I ran for office in 1981, I ran as a rookie, and it was a 6-1 board. And Harry Freitag was the Republican who everybody loved. So everybody knew, except me, I couldn't win. So I lost. Okay. So the second time in '82, Ed Salmon and I ran together, and I won big because Bill Hughes was as popular as Jeff Van Drew, drew a lot of votes to our side of the ticket, and I won by like 5,000 votes. 1985, I had the Kane landslide, won by 200 votes, from 5,000 to 200. So that's timing. And that's when Jimmy Parent, my friend, said to me, Jim, you can win in 85. You'll never have to worry about losing. 1991 comes. Jim Florio is about as popular as Joe Biden. And I lost. And one of the newspaper reporters came up to me, and he said, aren't you really sad? And I said, well, I'm sad I lost. But he said, well, what are you going to do? I said, I'm lucky. And I am. I am a very lucky person. I love what I do. So I still got to do Millville football. I still got to do the auction time show. I got to do the TV shows, and I got to talk and meet and see a lot of the people. In fact, let me talk about the people here. So Jerry Young said Bridgeton voter apathy might just be the difference in who controls the county commission board. It certainly didn't help, that's for sure. Joe Saleo, I think that's how I say the name. It's nice to see people participating this year in the election process. We have moved Cumberland. Let me see what Joe said. I got it. County in a positive direction. good job, Joe. Joe said hi. Lake West Zuyak's watching. He said, good job. Thank you. And I saw Joe. Oh, Joe was at the event we were at the
Bridgeton Chamber
event as well. Yep, and run into him every so often. And Joe and Tony Romero. Tony and I go way back. Tony was a wonderful man. When I was doing the Clover Cable thing, Tony was helping out with the Clover Cable back in the 80s when he was a young kid, you know. And so anyway, they were some of the nice comments we've gotten. Let's see, we have some others. Double hit. Oh, I know that's who's Vineland. Oh, Vineland. Bill Whalen. You got that right, Bill Whalen thing, where he said, "Don't you love how our friend Tony can balance?" Yeah, that's right. We got that. Okay, so there we are. I'll tell you what, we're coming up. Well, might as well say, do you think we're going to get the final results? What do you think, Ryan? Ryan's pretty sharp. Okay. Well, we got about 15, 20 minutes. I said we'd go till midnight. Yeah. So my clock's on the floor, folks. So we got 25 minutes to go, right? Okay. So anyway, if you want to, why don't you put up all the stats that we have from the, you know, there we go. Okay. Those again, Jeff Van Drew was 61%, Tim Alexander with 38%, and Jeff Van Drew will be reelected our congressman for the third time, once as a Democrat and twice as a Republican. Congratulations to Jeff, and best wishes. And it appears at this point in time that Doug Albrecht will be returning as an incumbent to the County Commission Board. Last time Doug won, we were freeholders. In fact, I sat next to Doug as a freeholder. And then we had the COVID situation, so we didn't go in. Doug did, to his credit. He and Joe Dorello went in. I didn't go in. Cousin George Castellini didn't go in, but we were older, you know.
Immune system, man.
Yeah, the immune system had to be careful there. But so this is Doug's second term. He's had 3 years in, and he's reelected for a second term. And
in all probability, he'll be the director.
Well, that's up to Joe, Tony, and Victoria.
Yeah, the majority,
course, and what they do there. But Victoria Lodes has run a bunch of times. Congratulations, super lady. So happy for her. And this surprised me. It really, really surprised me. Stephen Watson, who I did not know, running against a man who does all kind of things in the community, Bobby McQuaid, was appointed by the county, by the city commission, to the position that I vacated, and was given that nomination to run. And I'm glad they nominated Bobby. He deserved, and he finished 6th last time out. But Stephen Watson, I'll have to have you on the show sometime. Congratulations. Of course, I knew your Uncle Wes, who was a great guy, Les. So, that surprised me. The zoning thing did not surprise me, Tony. The dissolving the zoning board. I didn't think people wanted to dissolve it, and it went down by over 800 votes, so it's 28 to 49 to 2,041. So that's not going to be made up in the closing minutes of the hours before the very, very final votes are in. And here you see the Millville School Board. You know these guys.
Yeah, and they're all, I think, very competent school board members. They work very hard. Most importantly, they work for the betterment of the students, and they work with very well with our superintendent. I know I'm talking with our superintendent. Very pleased with, the board and the fact that they don't agree on everything, but that's why you have a board. And but yet when they, come to a decision, it's always in the best interest of the kids.
Mike Wilden, Rick Cott, and Kevin Aselta. Kevin I saw today at the at Rossi Honda. He's one of the service managers there, where they do a great job, I might add. And I do think I know Tom McFarland. I'm pretty sure. He was very active at First Methodist and with the Boy Scouts. Very nice man. I got to tell you, it's an interesting story about school board elections, though. Now, in this one, it wasn't that way. But I remember Charlie Flickinger would win often. And one year he lost. He was 4 out of 4. and only 3 get elected. So like what happens, people just go down 1, 2, 3, and they don't know. Now, maybe by now, people know, certainly would know Rick Cott because he's like Mr. Millville.
Right.
And just tremendous guy, and is a police officer, sergeant, plow. He does all the great things, wonderful with the kids. And Mike Wilden's been there for a long time, very dedicated person. And Kevin used to come to city commission. He was a concerned citizen. He would get up and speak about fiscal conservatism, which I agreed with him with. And Kevin has been on for quite a while too. But they are the 3 incumbents. So when you look at school board elections, the incumbents have the edge because their names are out there a little bit more. And, you know, the other people, I don't know Mr. Baker, I don't know Mr. McGuire, I do know Mr. McFarland. But, you know, and again, the newspapers aren't there to give you the whole spreads on them. And if I actually
and their views, you really want to know,
yeah,
you know,
right.
What do you think the biggest issue is in schools?
Right.
And you get to
what
at
do you
least
bring to the what you bring to the table?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe what I should do, Tony, is again, if I get
candidates forum.
I was going to say that if I could get a sponsor, I'll have a candidates forum and let them all speak like we've done in the past. And I'm sure more than willing to do that. It's just, I'll tell you, thank God for Rich Allen and Glenn Lilly, because they do so much to help me with different projects and programs, and especially tonight's sponsors. My gosh, thank you to Paul Ritter and to Cumberland Insurance Group. What do you think of that commercial? Pretty sharp, isn't it? George Cuccia, thank you, man, for putting that together for us. Bob Connor, you are the best, buddy. God bless you. I don't know what I'd do without you and Mike Toscano. You guys help put probably 70% of the programming on. It's on Channel 22. You're major sponsors for it. Here we look at the Bridgeton race where Mayor Al Kelly won, 71% to 29%. Disappointing totals of like 1,500 people that voted. Again, it's not really. I mean, even though Mr. Martinez ran, he didn't have a chance of winning against a long-time popular incumbent mayor like Al Kelly.
Who's done a great job.
And there's nobody running against his wonderful council people who do a real good job as well. So that's why, unfortunately for the Democrats, the totals were low, because that is a Democratic community. But and this looks like, Ryan tells me this is the final totals, and it's a very, very close one between Mike Vizard and Justice Strawmuller. Strawmuller, Republican, a very well-known name from Millville. I didn't know he lived in Commercial Township, but I'm sure he probably lives in the Morristown area. But Mike Vizard has done a great job down there, and I really like Mike, and I'm very proud of him. And at least technically, congratulations, Mike. Those votes look like that's at 39, 52 votes. So, hey, buddy, John Hollingshead lost an election by 1 vote, and Vicki Marshall won by a vote, and John voted for Vicki. So, you know, you never know.
I remember
how those things will work out.
Jim, I want to say this about the school board in Millville. We have a very diverse school system, and I have reached out to a number of minorities, encouraging them to consider running for the school board, because our school board doesn't reflect any diversity. We did have some diversity in years past, but for the last several years, there is no diversity. So if you are a minority out there, you have a child in school or was in school, consider running for the school board. I think we need representation that would reflect the student body, and right now we don't have that. That's not to take away from the candidates or the school board members that are there now. They're doing a terrific job, and the candidates that ran, I hope they'll consider to run again. But I also hope that some diversity can happen on our school board. I'm going to continue to reach out to minority folks in the city of Millville to have them consider to run, because to have the number of board members be of the same ethnic background and color, I don't think reflects our school. That's my public service announcement.
Thank you. I just got a message from a friend of mine, and he was asking about the Senate race. How I'm up. He said, You guys are the best, but I'm upset with the way we all talk about how close the Senate race is. I guess he's talking about Pennsylvania.
Probably Pennsylvania.
I don't know if we
which
can get
I don't
any,
know if we have that in our purview.
I tried to find
Maybe
it.
the guys can look that up.
What'd you say? Thank you. Ryan's working on it. We'll try to get the results of Fetterman or Dr. Oz.
And the governor's race, too, which is
6% of votes counted for the Senate. Fetterman is at 49.5%, and Dr. Oz is at 48%.
Right
Very
now,
close.
49.5% for Fetterman, 48% for Dr. Oz is what Ryan just got online. So, Steve, if that's what you're wondering, it's 48.5. Was it 49? 49.5% for Fetterman and 48% for Dr. Oz. So there's a 1.5 percentage point difference there. Of course, I don't know, the total vote count if it's 100%, but 76%. Okay, so there's still plenty of time for that. And you never know where the districts are coming from. Is it coming from the coal mine area where Fetterman will do well, or is it coming from the wealthier area of, like up near King of Prussia, City Line Avenue? You just never know where they're coming from. But that has been a very interesting race, Steve, and it is one of those close ones. Of course, it doesn't directly affect us because it's not the state of New Jersey. We didn't have a senator.
Well, it does affect us, Jim, because when people want to talk about the economy,
oh, that's true.
I'm not sure what the answer is. You mentioned it, celebrity candidates like Oz.
Right.
Fetterman has, unfortunately, some health issues. He appears to,
okay. He's talking about you. You're on that same track. He's talking about the whole country. Steve was on the Senate. Yeah, so you're answering him properly. Yeah, you're right. I mean, and that's where we talked about Herschel Walker.
Yeah.
And running down there. He's admitted, or at least his girlfriends have admitted having abortions, and things like that. But they're celebrities, they get away with a lot more than a non-celebrity would. And you put yourself out there, you're vulnerable.
And I think this, Jim, I really think.
What'd you say?
Walker is leading.
Herschel Walker is
By how
leading.
many?
Not even 1,000.
Not even 1,000 votes, so that's very close.
There's going to be another. And you know
Yeah,
what? If
more
they don't
not.
get 50% of the vote,
Oh, they have a
to
runoff.
run
That's
off.
right, yeah.
I wanted
That's
to say,
December
Jim,
6th,
I
I
think
think.
people generally are fed up with government.
Yeah.
And they,
Yep.
and I was listening to an analyst talk about this, and he said, really, and I don't remember this, you might, it goes back to the Reagan era where he really attacked too much government and, really attacked the government. Of course, he got elected, and I thought he was a very good president, but now we really have an attack on the government.
Yeah.
And we have it not only verbally, but we have
physically.
January
Yeah.
6th,
Yeah.
which is an embarrassment. And I don't know how you defend that. I don't know how you even think that that's the democracy that we want.
Oh, come on, Tim. They weren't any visitors. They were just visitors. Come on. In fact, I swear I said to somebody about, the chanting of hang Mike Pence. That never happened. That never happened. I said, okay, I'm sorry I heard it, but I guess I didn't hear what I heard.
That's what you heard. You had that going on, and you have these, I think any extremist group, right or left,
exactly.
is not good for
right.
the country.
No, it's not.
And I would never defend the left the far left. And you and I are far from the far left.
Yeah, we sure are. We're closer to the right. We are centrists for sure.
Centrists
and
for
you know
sure.
what? I got to tell you a story how fiscally conservative I am. And this was almost embarrassing to me. I was on the College Board of Trustees back after I lost the freeholder election. They put me, and I loved it. Great time. I had 8 until I got to be freeholder again in '97. For those years I served, I really enjoyed it. One of the people on there was Judge Julio Mendez. He became a judge. Super person, just great. And a lot of good, Al Freilinger, Bob Smith, a lot of really wonderful people on that board. So we had a position, a janitorial position became open. One of the custodians retired or whatever. So I said, hey, we got to go and we got to outsource that position. We'll save money. And Julio Mendez looked at me, he goes, Jim Quinn, how about that poor guy that's sitting at home with 2 or 3 children, doesn't have a job, needs medical benefits, and wants a job and all that stuff? I said, I'm sorry, you're right. I apologize. But, I've always been fiscally conservative. The one thing I'm proudest of, and as we're getting close to midnight, I might as well tell everybody, when I got elected to the mayor of Millville, insurance was $1.2 million. Now, I had been on the county freeholder board years back. I thought, that seems awful high. And there was no quotes. Nobody, one person was given that insurance. So I said to someone in City Hall, we are going to get 3 quotes for the insurance. He said, do whatever the heck you want. So I did. Guess what? It went from $1.2 million down to $730,000, and the person who was charging 1.2 dropped almost $500,000. So the thing you have to look at is you've got to be, and to the Republicans' credit, I think they're very fiscally conservative, and I admire that. You've got to look at everything. You've got to, for taxpayer money, you got to make sure it's spent properly, and it's the way you got to do that, and that's the way I've always been. But I'm in business, guys. I got to make a living. I've got to try to get advertisers to make this election coverage possible, because Ryan and George do a great job, and they need to be paid, and the electric and the taxes and everything else that you have, and nowadays being in radio, TV, newspaper business is very, very tough, because people are going to, online, on the phone, and that type of thing. I do want to say
free news.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is a lot of it. Yeah. Steve did say, I'm the old school where you let the elected officials work together. That's why people come out and vote. People are mad right now, and I think they are. He's probably right that people are ticked off at what things are in government and saying, who cares, my vote doesn't.
And I think that's a large reason why you might see, a never held office before guy like Trump be a president. That's like unheard of. Yeah. An Oz maybe be a senator. Those things, Herschel Walker, those things are more likely now because people are frustrated. People think that, all government is wrong. And yet you need government. Without government, where would we be? We need government. Yeah. We need policies.
Yeah. And you need more Jeff Van Drews in government.
More Jeff Van Drews. And, when people sometimes are critical, for example, of the welfare system, well, is there abuse in welfare? Absolutely. Sure. There's abuse in income tax.
Yeah.
People fudge on that or whatever. Yeah. We've got to clean it up and do better, but we certainly don't want to have children that are born without a father, and the mother's left with 3 kids, right, wrong, or indifferent. Exactly. You're going to kick them out. So we're going to have them on the welfare rolls.
And that's what I served on the welfare board. And now, when people would say that to me, I said, "What do? You got a woman with 3 little children. You got to feed the kids. You got to house them. You just can't throw them on the streets." And I know there's theories and all that, and I understand all that. But the facts are, when you've got a woman with 3 children and no husband, no father around or whatever to take care of them, it falls on the public. It really does. And that's something that is just the way it is, and it's sad. It really is. There was something I wanted to mention. Bobby McQuaid wanted to know, Ryan, before I mention that, Shapiro apparently was declared winner in Pennsylvania for governor. Yeah. Ryan, could you put the totals again that you had up for Bobby McQuaid, or if possible, or the Millville City Commission election thing? It says, maybe you can bring back what is your job. So here's the ones, Bobby, that we have. These are the last ones. Does it sell at percent? 94%, Bob, of the voters have voted, and it's 2,713 for Stephen and 2,194 for you. So there's 94% who voted. So it's going to be tough, But Bobby, if you don't win, I want to thank you for all you've done for the city in this year. And secondly, thank you for everything you and Mike Wilden do every single day. And you even went to Tony Surace and picks up his TV.
He can go anywhere.
Yeah.
And he served on the school board.
Yeah, for many years. That's true.
You know, he was a special police officer when we had him.
Oh, God, he did a great job. Yes, I forgot about that.
Bob loves Millville.
Yes, he does. And I'll tell you what, Bobby did a wonderful job as a special police officer, especially at the library. And when I was the mayor, he was like my number one guy, and then you had the real built guy. He was real muscular. That was Bobby's partner. And and also the Sills. Sills, who does animal control, special police officer. In each position in Millville, Mary says maybe you can bring back what is your job, so to speak, and you could do what each position in Millville, 15th Street down to what, run this, I don't know. I'm confused on that, but I have nothing to do with the city of Millville, Mary, so I can't do anything, believe me, nothing at all.
Wrong number.
Yeah. I was hoping Bobby would, but congratulations to Steve Watson. That's his name, right, Steve?
Yep,
I guess.
Stephen Watson.
That's very impressive. It's amazing. I didn't know him. You didn't know him. I'm thinking, how's this guy going to win? But we
knew his uncle.
He was a great guy. His uncle was, yeah. Well,
but
yeah.
Yeah, welcome to City Commission if that's the way the vote goes, and best of luck to you.
Yeah, certainly. And he looks like a pretty young fellow, which is a good thing too.
Yeah.
You know, and actually that's something when you look around. I mean, Pelosi's 80, even in your nationwide in the government. I mean, President Biden, 78 years old, and Donald Trump is 76. No, he's 76. His birthday's June. He just turned 76. But when he runs again for president, which I think he will, he'll be 78. And when he would finish, he'd be 82. So, anyway, hopefully they stay. I think to some degree, President Biden's losing a little bit. And,
I can't imagine.
Can you imagine?
I cannot imagine
all that
how
stuff?
hard. I mean, you see what you did.
Yeah, I screw
as
up.
mayor.
Yeah. Oh, no, I screwed up tonight. Yeah.
No, but you're everywhere. You're when you're mayor, you're everywhere.
Yeah.
You're president.
My
gosh, you're in every state.
Yeah.
There's a catastrophe. You're flying down there. You're dealing with foreign relations. I don't know. I think it's
Lance,
a younger person's job, personally. For whoever takes it.
Bobby, thank you. Lance Kohler was the
Lance
guy.
Kohler. I remember that name. Yeah.
I like hanging with Lance. I take him as my bodyguard. Well, anyway, we're going to wrap it up. Tony, thank you so much for staying on.
You're welcome,
Ryan,
Jim.
if you would run through the ones we have, that we got about 3 minutes left, and we'll run those down. And then again, if something comes up and I see it later online, I'll put it on my Facebook page.
Check out Facebook.
Or I'll put it on my Facebook page. Here's the final results that we have in the House of Representatives. Jeff Van Drew, the incumbent, winning big, 61% to 38%. And Gallo and Sanchez, less than 1%. And in the county freeholder, it's not freeholders, it's county commissioners, it appears now that the Republicans swept Doug Albrecht with 15,493 votes, Victoria Lodes with 15,088 votes, and Darlene Barber, the current county commission director, with 12,188 votes, and Priscilla Ocasio-Mendez, one of the hardest working women I've ever met in my life, with 11,761 votes. And here we have the local one once again with 94% voting in. Stephen Watson with 2,713 votes, and my good friend Bob McQuaid with 2,194 votes. And Bobby, thanks for your service. And the zoning board question appears to have gone down. They'll keep the zoning board. The city commission wanted to absolve the zoning board, to do away with it, to dissolve it, but the voters said no, they want the zoning board to stay. And I give the commission credit for putting that on the ballot. They probably just could have done it, themselves if they wanted, but they put it on the ballot. They gave it people the opportunity to see, how that worked out. Millville Board of Education, Mike Wilden, top vote getter, incumbent. Kevin Aselda finished second, another incumbent. And Rick Cott, another incumbent, finished third at 2239. And in the Bridgeton mayor race, Mary Al Kelly winning it 71% to Teodoro Martinez, 29%, and 1,148 votes for the mayor, 463 for Martinez. And in Commercial Township, Mike did just text me that they're still waiting on a few absentee ballots, but he feels pretty confident. Mike Vizard, 47%, Justice Strawmuller, 47%, Mike with 513 votes, Justice with 461 votes, and it appears that Mike will be returning as the mayor of Commercial Township. Thank you so much, Brian Narowski. Great job as always. George Kuchia, can never thank you enough for all that you've done for the programming, the commercials, everything else that's been there tonight. Sorry to keep you guys an extra hour overtime. I know Tony stays up till midnight because he's one of my late calls. We talk on the phone 11 o'clock usually. Right?
Don't call me tonight.
I won't call you tonight. I'll let you get home and go to bed. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Thanks to everybody who messaged us on the on Facebook, because I was able to see your Facebook messages. And congratulations to the winners. And I know you'll take care and you'll do a good job for the citizens of Cumberland County and of this. Tomorrow?
Nick Aselda.
Oh, that's right. For
The
tomorrow.
wrap up. He'll be happy.
Yeah. Tomorrow, Nick Aselda will be here. Now he'll come. See, they won, he'll be here tomorrow. No,
He'll be all smiles.
Tomorrow at 6 o'clock, join Nick and I as we recap every final result that we have, which we should have everything by then, and we could talk a little bit more about the national situation. We'll know more about that as well. And don't forget, tomorrow night between 3 and 10, 40% off at the Queen Restaurant at Lincoln and Landis and Vineland. 40% off. Tell them Jim Quinn sent you. And that's tomorrow and tomorrow's Wednesday and Thursday.
Yep.
So Wednesday and Thursday, 3 to 10, anything on the menu, lobsters, whatever you want, 40% off. So stop in. And thank you to our commercial sponsors for tonight, Ron Durham, Paul Ritter, Bob Connor, and who am I forgetting, George? Oh, and Jim Beebe, and the Millville Chiropractic Center. That's the 4 people that made tonight's show possible. Again, for Tony Surace, I'm Jim Quinn. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night, folks. Take care. Bye-bye.
This has been a QBC television production, in association with our partners and sponsors. QBC broadcasts on Comcast Cable Channel 22, and live streams its programming on Facebook and YouTube. All rights reserved by Quinn Media and QBC, programming that serves the South Jersey market.